Chapter 51. With Murong Qingshe's current appearance, there really is a little hope. Being ruthlessly rejected by Murong Fu and Murong Qingshui, Nalan Shiji's face instantly turned extremely ugly. He looked at the two of them with some resentment. How dare you reject this young master? Taking a deep breath to suppress the anger in his heart, Nalan Shigan stared at Murong Fu and Murong Qingshui suddenly. You must know that this young master is not only the young patriarch of the Nalan family, but also the young patriarch of the Taiyi sword sect. He represents two major forces behind his back. Do you, the Murong family, want to be so unkind to you because you want to antagonize these two powerful forces? After saying that, Nalan Shiji showed a trace of morbid possessiveness on his face, stared at Murong Qingshui with burning eyes, and continued to add in a solemn voice. Continue to fulfill the engagement and let Sister Qingshui marry this young master. These major forces can still live in peace. Otherwise, once my master and grandfather are really angry, the situation of the Murong family will be difficult to predict. Senran's words did not conceal the threat at all. Stimulated by being slapped in the face and possessive, Nalan Shiji had no lower limit at this time. There was just one thought in his mind. He must get Murong Qingshui, press her under him and train her hard, and finally completely transform into his shape. This way, only in this way can he wash away the shame of being rejected in public and give his self-esteem some comfort. Roll. After hearing what Nalan Shiji said, Murong Fu, who had always had a good temper, finally couldn't bear it anymore. Amidst the roar, his cultivation aura suddenly exploded, and he stared at Nalan Shiji coldly. From today on, my Murong family and your Nalan family will sever all ties with each other. If you dare to threaten me again, I won't mind killing you on the spot in front of him. After finishing this sentence, Murong Fu raised his hand and clapped his hand, and his true energy blasted out like a torrent. Murong Fu, how dare you? After seeing that Murong Fu's palm did not hold back at all, the old man in gray roared with cultivation, and raised his hand to meet Murong Fu's palm. Boom! The next moment, with the explosion of roar, the floor of the hall burst on the spot. Under a terrible shock, Xiao Chen, Murong Qingshui and others were all forced back. Some tables and chairs were shattered into pieces on the spot. Nalan Shiji and the old man in gray were blasted out of the hall on the spot by this palm strike. Old man, you dare to take action against me. Your Murong family is in trouble. After stabilizing himself with a look of shock on his face, Nalan Shiji roared angrily. Ever since he was young, he has been a star among the stars, especially after being accepted as a disciple by the master of the Taiyi sword sect. In this 3/3 of an acre of land in Guangzhou, even some local city lords had to act based on his expression. Who would have thought that Murong Fu, an old man, would be so shameless that he would even dare to attack him? Walk. Seeing Nalan Shiji being so angry that he was uttering cruel words without knowing whether he was alive or not, wasn't this just looking for excitement? The old man in gray frowned slightly, grabbed Nalan Shiji and jumped away. Although Taiyi sword sect is not afraid of the Murong family, but over a marriage, he completely broke up with a local city lord and went to war. This is obviously impossible. After all, Taiyi sword sect is also a big force with a good reputation. It is impossible for them to go to war with other forces in a big way just because of the junior's personal affairs. And still without being reasonable. After watching the old man in gray clothes take Nalan Shiji away with a disgraced look on his face, Murong Fu's expression softened a little. Young master is just kidding. He turned around and hugged Xiao Chen. Murong Fu immediately took off the space ring on his hand, wiped off the soul mark and handed it directly to Xiao Chen. It contains not only my life savings, but also the purple pill of restoration that the young master needs. Now they all belong to the young master. Although Xiao Chen has not yet taken action to cure Murong Bo at this time, it does not hinder Murong Fu's trust and gratitude towards Xiao Chen. In less than an hour of contact, he was completely impressed by Xiao Chen. He obviously possesses heaven-defying medical skills and has extraordinary talents and qualifications, but his character is neither humble nor arrogant, neither arrogant nor arrogant. Compared with this idiot Nalan Shiji, he is as big as heaven and earth. If the person Murong Qingshui entrusts with his life is a handsome and outstanding man like Xiao Chen, his old father will be able to rest in peace even if he dies. Thinking of this, Murong Fu thought of Murong Qingshui's words, and a strange color appeared in his eyes. Perhaps, with Murong Qingshe's current appearance, there really is some hope. Between thoughts, Murong Fu looked at his daughter, only to find that Murong Qingshui was secretly looking at Xiao Chen, her eyes flickering as if she was a little shy. This made his eyes brighter. This looks interesting. At the same time, Murong Qingshui saw her father looking at her strangely. The whole person was startled on the spot and quickly turned his head with a look of shame. A blush spread from her face to her neck. She didn't expect that her father would catch her peeking at Mr. Xiao. This situation would be too embarrassing. Xiao Chen didn't know about the two people's little moves at this time. Nothing artificial at all. After taking the Naji from Murong Fu, Xiao Chen immediately checked it. Follow the soul thought to explore into the Naji. The first thing that caught the eye was a hill made of spiritual crystals, the number of which was estimated to be at least 1 million. Secondly, there are various treasures suspended around the spiritual crystal hill. Among them are not only divine ability, elixirs and mysterious weapons, spirit medicine beast cores, but also some precious monster corpse materials. If all these things are added up, they should be worth 1 or 2 million spiritual crystals. And most importantly, Xiao Chen found a sealed purple elixir in one of the elixir bottles. Resurrection Purple Pill. A panacea whose value can be worth all the resources in this ring is also the goal of his trip. Now this elixir is finally in hand. With this elixir and these resources, it is enough for Kayan to return to her peak cultivation level. By then, with the protection of a strong man in the 9th level of heaven and man, he could almost walk sideways in the deserted state. But before that, let's help old Mr. Murong recover from his injuries. When the thought falls, Xiao Chen withdrew his soul thought from the space ring, and his eyes fell on Murong Bo in the wheelchair. Mr. Murong, next. I will help you stand up again. Thank you, Mr. Xiao. Cough cough cough. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Murong Fu and Murong Qingshui were ecstatic, and even Murong Bo himself was so excited that he thanked him. Xiao Chen nodded when he heard this and didn't say any more nonsense at this time. Immediately, he clasped his hands together and pinched out a series of seals again, and the vast Junyuan turned into countless runes surrounding the surroundings. After some random operations, Xiao Chen pointed at Murong Bo and at the same time issued repair instructions to the system. Ding! The system has deducted 23,000 points and is repairing the injury of the character Murong Bo. As expected of a Universal Truth Realm powerhouse, it cost more than 20,000 points to completely repair the injuries on his body. Hearing the system beep, Xiao Chen's face showed a strange color, but he didn't feel distressed at this time. After all, he earned more than just these points today. Next, he helped Murong Bo repair his old injuries and hidden diseases. He even wanted to help him restore his cultivation. After all, the Murong family has been impressed by him now. If they can help Murong Bo recover his cultivation, there will be another strong man behind him. This is definitely a guaranteed profit. Chapter 52. You must dedicate yourself to Mr. Xiao and become the beauty next to him. Seeing Xiao Chen using his medical skills again, everyone held their breath for fear of disturbing Xiao Chen's spellcasting. Only Kayan showed a hint of doubt, and then her expression became a little solemn. He remembered that Xiao Chen didn't seem to use any of these fancy seal techniques when he was repairing Xiao Zan's injuries. It seems that this old guy was seriously injured, and he was able to let the young master use his hand seals. And with the flash of white light, it exploded. Murong Bo felt as if his whole body was soaking in a spring of life, and all the damaged and exhausted body functions were revived and revitalized at this time. This feeling almost made him moan, but fortunately he resisted the urge to speak. A handful of years. It's not good to scare young Master Xiao. It didn't take long for Xiao Chen to retract his palm and all the runes on his body were restrained. Okay, how do you feel? Looking at Murong Bo who was more than 10 years younger in front of him, Xiao Chen asked with a faint smile. Hiss. Okay, everything is really healed. I felt that my body was breathing unusually smoothly, with no urge to cough at all, and even my lower body had regained consciousness. Murong Bo's eyes widened at this moment, and he immediately stood up and moved his body. Ha ha ha, I, Murong Bo, can finally stand up again. After feeling the long-lost earth, Murong Bo immediately looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, kneeling heavily in front of Xiao Chen. Old man Murong Bo, Thank you Mr. Xiao for your great kindness. Murong Fu and Murong Qingshui saw their elders knelt down and thanked them. At this time, he didn't even dare to stand, so he immediately knelt down towards Xiao Chen. Hey, why are you all kneeling down again? Seeing this scene in front of him, Xiao Chen felt a little headache. This family was too polite. They knelt down to him at every turn, which made him uncomfortable. After all, he made no effort at all, just made a few random gestures and left the rest to the system. Nowadays, resources have been greatly profited, and even the reputation has been fully profited. So he was already very satisfied with this trip and didn't need to enjoy too much kneeling. Now that your injuries have fully recovered, you just need to return to your previous cultivation level. After signaling Murong Bo and others to stand up, Xiao Chen continued with a faint smile. Next, I will find a way to smelt a soul resurrection purple pill, which should be able to help you restore your previous cultivation. When seeing the purple pill of restoration, a bold idea came to his mind, but he didn't know yet whether it would work. If that works, he should be able to get a lot of soul resurrection purple pills, and there is no harm in taking one out to help Murong Bo recover his cultivation. What? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Murong Bo, Murong Fu and others showed a look of shock on their faces. Obviously he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Xiao Chen helped them twice, which was already a huge kindness, and now he plans to help Murong Bo recover his cultivation. What kind of virtues and talents does the Murong family have that makes it worth Xiao Chen's sacrifice for them? Don't get too excited first. This is just my idea. You have to wait for me to verify it. If it doesn't work, then Mr. Murong's cultivation will have to wait until later to recover. Seeing Murong Bo and others trembling with excitement, they looked like they were going to kneel down in front of him again. Xiao Chen waved his hand at this time and vaccinated several people first. Young Master Xiao has such a heart. It is already a great blessing. How dare we force it? Murong Bo waved his hand after hearing this and said with a grateful expression. If Xiao Chen hadn't appeared today, I'm afraid he would have been reduced to a cold corpse in less than 3 days. As for Murong Qingshui, this child was divorced by Nalan Shiji. From now on, I will definitely feel despair, and I will probably kill myself. Even Murong Fu might be in trouble in the future if he lost 2 close relatives one after another. Therefore, Xiao Chen's appearance today will not only save him, but also the entire Murong family. Well, help me prepare a quieter room. Next, I want to test the idea. Xiao Chen nodded when he heard this and didn't say any more polite words. After explaining to Murong Bo and others, under the arrangement of the other party, they came to the wing in the courtyard next to Murong Qingshui. Kayan didn't say anything. After taking a look at Murong Qingshui, she twisted her waist to follow Xiao Chen. If she didn't feel wrong, this is another slut who is infatuated with Mr. Xiao, and is probably the sister she will get along with in the future. Mr. Xiao is so outstanding. I had only been out for 2 or 3 days when I was targeted by a nymphomaniac. It seems that if she doesn't seize the opportunity, she will be ranked very low in the future. When the thoughts emerged in her mind, Kayan looked at Xiao Chen's back and her eyes couldn't help but flicker. Ahem, you've gone far. Are you still looking? Watching Xiao Chen and Kayan disappear around the corner, Murong Bo looked at Murong Qingshui who looked infatuated, and couldn't help but coughed and joked at this moment. Grandpa, what are you talking about? After hearing Murong Bo's words, Murong Qingshui was startled, and only then did she come to her senses. Her pretty face immediately turned red with embarrassment, and she spoke in a sultry voice. Ha, Grandpa has lived this long, how can he not see that you are tempted? Seeing Murong Qingshui's rare expression, Murong Bo couldn't help but laugh out loud. Master Xiao is a rare and amazing talent. If you like him, you must take advantage of him. After all, my Xiao Shui is also a great beauty now, no worse than anyone else. But Mr. Xiao already has such an outstanding beauty beside him, how could he still like me, a little girl? Hearing Murong Bo's seemingly teasing encouragement, Murong Qingshui couldn't help lowering her head and said with a somewhat inferior tone. Although Kayan was veiled and didn't say anything, but also as a woman, she could feel that this was a stunning beauty whose appearance was not inferior to hers. Moreover, the opponent's cultivation level is much higher than hers, and he even has a temperament that she can't compare with, just like a true superior. Such an outstanding woman is worthy of Mr. Xiao. How could someone like her, who had transformed from an ugly creature, be qualified to be worthy of Mr. Xiao. Silly girl, you have to strive for happiness by yourself. If you like it, just chase it boldly. A man as elegant and extraordinary as Mr. Xiao, who possesses extraordinary abilities, will rarely be pursued by beautiful women in the future. If you don't have the courage to try to stand by his side, you may not even have the courage to get close to him in the future. As if he could see that Murong Qingshui still had a low self-esteem and could not get over the shadow of being an alien in the past, Murong Bo reached out and patted Murong Qingshui on the shoulder. You are no worse than anyone else now, you just lack confidence. And human life is short, so you might as well be bold and chase one person across a mountain. But don't let yourself leave any regrets. Grandpa will always support you behind you. Grandfather, after hearing Murong Bo's words, Murong Qingshui's body trembled, and she raised her head and her eyes were a little red. Unexpectedly, her passion for a man would actually receive support from her elders. This was unimaginable before. Murong Fu, who was on the side, turned a little red after seeing this. Such a heartwarming scene. If Murong Qingshui's mother saw this, she would probably feel very relieved at this time. And you brat, what do you mean by holding your tongue and not speaking? You don't support your daughter chasing Mr. Xiao? Before Murong Fu could sigh with emotion for long, he suddenly received a slap on the forehead. Look up. Seeing Murong Bo blowing his beard and staring at him made his head feel a little buzzing. If you hadn't been drunk and arranged a bastard marriage for Qingshui, how would my Xiaoshui be wronged today? Xiaoshui's happiness will be in her own hands from now on. If you kiddos something else, do you think I will break your legs? Seeing Murong Fu, the city lord, being taught like a child by Murong Bo. The corners of Murong Qingshui's mouth couldn't help but lift slightly, revealing a charming smile. The Murong family has really changed, becoming more energetic and festive than before. This person was given by Mr. Xiao, so in this life, Dachi must not let him down. After her expression gradually became cheerful, Murong Qingshui also made up her mind. You must dedicate yourself to Mr. Xiao and become the beauty beside him. Chapter 53. Why are you looking at me like that? The other side. After walking into the side room, Xiao Chen ignored Kayan who followed him, and immediately sat down cross-legged and took out the soul-reviving purple pill. Then used the identification function directly. A rank 7 low-grade fulling purple pill contains many impurities, and the potency of the integrated union is not perfect. Due to the long storage time and improper sealing technique, nearly 40% of the medicinal power has been lost. The current potency of the medicine can restore the injured high-level powerhouse to the first level of universal truth. It is indeed a defective product. Looking at the properties of this elixir, Xiao Chen immediately shook his head. The medicine had lost 40% of its potency and contained many impurities. It was worse than he expected. However, even if this elixir is a bit rubbish, if it is put up for auction outside, without 1 or 2 million spiritual crystals, it would be impossible to get it. This is why things are rare and valuable. The system, as long as the item is in a damaged state, you can restore it to its complete form by consuming points? After appraising the resurrection purple pill, Xiao Chen asked abruptly. Ding! As long as the remaining part of the item reaches 100% of its complete form, the system can be restored to completeness. Except for soul consciousness and divine ability. After Xiao Chen asked, the system replied mechanically. This made Xiao Chen's eyes instantly brighten. Hiss, 1%? Xiao Chen took a deep breath, suppressed the urge to shout that the system was awesome, and looked at Fu Lingzi Dan with burning eyes. Immediately afterwards, spiritual sense covered it, and the cultivation level exploded at this moment. The strands of true qi were like indestructible hair, directly dividing the soul resurrection purple pill in front of me into 100 parts. This is what he was thinking just now. Since the system can repair incomplete things, is it possible to divide the complete things and then consume system points to restore them to integrity? In this way, he can get many of the same products, and he can also upgrade the products. I never thought that this idea could really be realized. Master, Kayan felt a little confused when she saw Xiao Chen's sudden burst of cultivation and directly split the resurrection purple pill. Even if the resurrection purple pill is a little bit off, there seems to be no need to destroy the pill, right? Could it be that young master is going to perform some unprecedented refining technique? As the thoughts in her mind turned around, Kayan seemed to have thought of something, but she held back her words at this moment. He just stared at Xiao Chen with burning eyes, fearing that he would miss some wonderful details. System, repair this fragment of the resurrection purple pill completely. In Kaiyan's confused and guessing eyes, Xiao Chen then put away the fragments of the resurrection purple pill, keeping only one of them for repair. Ding! The system has deducted 20,000 points and is repairing the resurrection purple pill for the host. Almost as Xiao Chen finished speaking, the system prompt sounded suddenly, which made Xiao Chen couldn't help but widen his eyes. Hiss! I actually want 20,000 points? Buzz? Almost when Xiao Chen was shocked, a dazzling white light burst out. Immediately afterwards, in a burst of purple light, a brand new soul resurrection purple pill also appeared in front of Xiao Chen's eyes. Young master, you actually used a piece of pill fragment to melt a new pill out of thin air? When Kaiyan on the side saw this scene, even though she was a celestial human realm expert, she was almost fainted by Xiao Chen. This method of creating something almost out of thin air was beyond her scope of cognition. If she hadn't still had a little bit of concentration, she would have knelt down on the spot and licked Xiao Chen wildly. This is simply a method like that of an immortal. Even the supreme great emperor is nothing more than this. System, how many points does it cost to repair a pill? Xiao Chen ignored Kaiyan's flushed face with excitement, and instead asked the system this deceptive question in his heart. Ding! The points consumed by the system are all measured based on the grade of the target item and its degree of damage. The higher the quality level, the higher the degree of damage, and the more points consumed. When Xiao Chen looked pained, the system replied mechanically. Fine. After Xiao Chen was silent for a while, he also figured out the key points. Divide a whole thing into 100 parts, take out one part, and restore it to wholeness. There is almost no big difference between this approach and re-refining. Just like when Murong Bo was repaired before, the other party's cultivation had reached the second level of universal truth and had reached the point where the oil lamp was exhausted. Recovering all the opponent's injuries and illnesses is equivalent to forging it all over again. So I spent more than 20,000 points before. Although the consumption cost is a bit high, this operation is still abnormal. Looking at the resurrection purple pill in his hand, the scent of the medicine was much stronger than before, and Xiao Chen showed a look of satisfaction on his face. This elixir should be able to restore the injured high-level power to the second level of universal truth. However, if Kaiyan wants to return to the 9th level of heaven and human realm, rank 7's low-grade restoration purple pill won't work. System, upgrade this soul resurrection purple pill to rank 8 supreme grade. After pondering for a while, Xiao Chen ordered to the system, formed a series of seals with his hands, and then clicked on the elixir. Ding! The system has deducted 32,000 points and is upgrading the resurrection purple pill for the host. As the system prompt tone fell, the dazzling white light shined again. The originally dim resurrection purple pill burst into bright purple light. Pill patterns were like spider webs, and they condensed on the pill in an instant. Vast medicinal power fluctuates. Sweeping away like a tsunami, Kaiyan's eyes widened with a look of horror. This turned out to be a rank 8 supreme grade elixir, infinitely close to the saint rank treasure. This is almost a legendary item among the 7 dynasties of the Eastern Wasteland. Once it appears in this world, it will shock the entire Eastern Wasteland and cause many celestial human realm powerhouses to fight. Unexpectedly, she could actually witness the birth of the rank 8 supreme grade elixir. What's even more outrageous is, this rank 8 supreme grade elixir was randomly refined by Xiao Chen. Although Kaiyan has never seen any saint rank alchemist. But she had a strong intuition that even the saint rank master of alchemy still couldn't do what Xiao Chen was like. Young master, it's really shocking. The rank 8 supreme grade elixir is equivalent to heavenly rank supreme grade. It only consumes 32,000 points, which is still within the acceptable range. Looking at the rank 8 supreme grade resurrection purple pill in front of me, which is enough to make the world go crazy. Xiao Chen's expression didn't fluctuate much. After muttering something, he waved the pill to Kaiyan. Here, this rank 8 supreme grade resurrection purple pill should restore you to your peak cultivation level. That kind of casual look, as if the rank 8 supreme grade elixir in front of me is just a jelly bean used to coax children. This made Kaiyan stunned on the spot. She still remembered that when her cultivation reached the 9th level of universal truth, in order to perfectly break through to the celestial human realm. She fought with a group of strong human beings for 3 days and 3 nights before she snatched a heavenly rank elixir from these people. And the quality of the elixir that almost caused her death was heavenly rank middle grade at best. But now, she got a heavenly rank supreme grade elixir without any effort, which was dozens of times more precious than the previous one. This made her feel complicated for a while. Why are you looking at me like that? Seeing Kaiyan's eyes trembling, she was still staring at him. Xiao Chen felt a little creepy and could only ask with a surprised look on his face. This woman suddenly looked so scary, she looked like she was going to eat him. Could it be that he was bewitched by this pill and planned to dissect him and seize his creation? When Xiao Chen finished speaking, Kaiyan also came back to her senses at this time, with a look of determination in her eyes, as if she had made some decision. Then she took off her veil, revealing her beautiful face. Admire the beauty of Queen Medusa. Chapter 54. Mr. Xiao, you look good today. What do you want to do? Seeing the prostrate body, the snow-white ravines are fully visible. Xiao Chen actually felt panic at this moment when Queen Medusa crawled towards him. Very meow. This hazy and trembling gaze, this alluring and alluring red lips. And with this devilish body, coupled with this beautiful face, who can bear to crawl over like this? Could it be that he is in estrus and you want to crawl over to him? Sir, I'm offended. After making up her mind, Kaiyan whispered to Xiao Chen and pounced like a tigress. Xiao Chen was pushed to the ground on the spot. This king. I want to favor the young master today. Looking at the confused Xiao Chen, Kaiyan was completely prepared to fight. She immediately spoke to Xiao Chen very domineeringly in her usual tone as a queen. Immediately afterwards, when Xiao Chen looked shocked when he heard this and his pupils couldn't help but dilate, Kaiyan leaned down at this moment. Damn it, I'm not ready yet. Woo woo woo. Seeing Kaiyan who was forcibly suppressing him and completely taking the initiative, Xiao Chen could only resist in humiliation. But before he could finish speaking, his mouth was completely blocked. Life, if sometimes you can't resist, it's better to open your heart and enjoy it. Maybe you can experience a different kind of happiness. Xiao Chen used to think this sentence was ridiculous, but now he found that it seemed to make sense. Just like now, he is in pain but also happy. Early morning hours. Xiao Chen lay on the carpet with his eyes blank. He felt that this life that he could not resist seemed to be a bit physically harmful to him. Although I had already been mentally prepared, I felt that I would be unable to defeat Queen Medusa. But he never expected it. With the blessing of his cultivation and bloodline, the opponent's fighting power would be so fierce that he would almost die from exhaustion on the spot. She truly deserves to be Queen Medusa, her fighting power is so terrifying. No, I want to become stronger. I must cultivate into the ancient kidney body and teach this Queen Medusa a lesson. Lie down on the carpet. Looking at the satisfied Queen Medusa beside her, she had put on her clothes and taken the purple pill of resurrection, and was sitting cross-legged on the bed, silently refining the majestic power of the medicine. Xiao Chen struggled to get up from the ground and swore angrily. The painful and joyful shame last night must be paid back one day. Hiss, my cultivation level. Has actually broken through to the revolving core realm? When the thoughts fall in my mind, only then did Xiao Chen realize that his cultivation level had broken through to the Xuanden realm, and it was still the astonishing third level of Xuanden realm. Moreover, the foundation of cultivation in the body is extremely solid, and there is no futility caused by excessive breakthroughs. It was as if he had taken some essence of heaven and earth to undergo such an astonishing transformation. This put a look of shock on his face. I didn't expect Kaiyan's blood nourishment to have such a strong effect. Thinking of Kaiyan's crazy look last night, it seemed that she wanted to pass on all the power of pure yin to him. I didn't care whether he might not be able to bear it anymore, so I just helped him practice all night. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen shook his head with a wry smile, and then he understood the reason. Alas, from now on, there is another fatal weakness. Looking at Kaiyan with her eyes closed not far away, Xiao Chen suddenly sighed with emotion. I thought it would take a long time before there would be any substantial progress, but I didn't expect the queen to be so proactive and domineering. A man was moved in his heart and immediately took him in his arms. He is under a lot of pressure now. After all, he had just transmigrated here a few days ago, and his cultivation base was finally a little weaker. Compared to a strong person like Queen Medusa who has been practicing for hundreds of years, his current level of cultivation is no different than that of an ant. It seems that we can only train her and let her eat soft food first. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen put on his clothes and waved to tidy up the room without disturbing Cain. Then he took out several fragments of the resurrection purple pill, and after spending more than 300,000 points, he successfully produced 8 rank 7 supreme grade resurrection purple pill. There are also 2 resurrection purple pills, which have been upgraded to rank 8. Xiao Chen plans to auction these in exchange for resources, so he doesn't skimp on points for this operation. Originally, he wanted to save some points to upgrade some profound rank elixirs, which could be used to improve his cultivation. However, after obtaining Kaiyan's primordial yin, his cultivation level improved by leaps and bounds. In a short period of time, the cultivation level cannot be improved quickly again and can only be used to exchange for more resources. In this way, the points will exceed the 800,000 mark as soon as possible and help Kaiyan upgrade her bloodline to break through the Saint Realm. There are more than 80,000 points left. Looking at the points balance on the property panel, a look of surprise appeared on Xiao Chen's face. I didn't expect that after some operations, there would still be so many points left. This was thanks to Murong Fu giving him all the information about the Murong family, otherwise it would be difficult for him to have more than 80,000 points left. Next, first transfer this soul-reviving purple pill to Mr. Murong, and then go to the Xian Chamber of Commerce. After looking at Kaiyan, who would not wake up in a short time, Xiao Chen walked out of the wing while murmuring words, and not long after, he came to the hall of Murong's house. At this time, the hall of Murong's house had a completely new look after last night's emergency repairs. Murong Fu looked at the notice presented by his servants and couldn't help showing a look of shock on his face. Murong Bo, on the other hand, was stretching his muscles outside the hall, as if he was adapting to this reborn body. "Mr. Xiao, you look good today." Seeing Xiao Chen suddenly appear, Murong Bo immediately smiled and said. This made Xiao Chen's mouth twitch. He looks so good, he was almost drained last night, and his legs are still a little shaky now. "But you can't say this," Xiao Chen immediately said with a smile. "Mr. Murong looks very good too. He must have adapted to the current situation." With that said, before Murong Bo could say anything, Xiao Chen took out the elixir bottle. "This is the purple pill of restoration from yesterday. I will re-sacrifice it and purify it, which is enough to restore you to your peak cultivation level." After saying that, while Xiao Chen's true energy surged, the elixir bottle floated over. This move, immediately, Murong Bo and Murong Fu froze on the spot with shocked faces. The purple pill of restoration that Xiao Chen worked so hard to obtain yesterday was returned to their hands today. And it has also been refined and purified. What exactly is this operation? Chapter 55. Is it possible that he is really destined to fall in love and will be beautiful for the rest of his life? Young master, you will not receive any rewards for your merits. This elixir. I don't dare to accept it. Seeing the pill bottle in front of him, Murong Bo was silent for a moment, then shook his head with a wry smile. As the saying goes, a person's words are long and his hands are short. The Murong family has already endured Xiao Chen's huge kindness. How could they have the nerve to take other people's things, let alone the priceless rank 7 elixir? It doesn't matter. Yesterday's purple pill of restoration and the resources you gave me have already helped me gain a lot. So just accept this purple pill of restoration. Xiao Chen said with a slight smile upon hearing this. Seeing what Murong Bo wanted to say, he raised his hand and continued to add. If you feel you really deserve it, wait until you fully recover your cultivation. Just help me collect some resources to offset this elixir. Using a pill to exchange the loyalty of the entire Murong family is definitely a sure profit in terms of long-term benefits. Thank you for your kindness, master. After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Murong Bo did not shirk anymore, but accepted it with a grateful face. He tried to restore his cultivation last night, but without external help. It can only return to the 3rd level of body tempering in one night. If you want to return to the 2nd level of universal truth, you can't do it within a few years. With the help of this resurrection purple pill, he might be able to fully recover within 2 or 3 days. This is the horror of high-level elixirs. Sir, the Xian Chamber of Commerce will hold an auction in 2 days. I wonder if you would be interested in joining in the fun? When Murong Bo put away the elixir, Murong Fu on the side held the invitation and asked Xiao Chen with a faint smile. Now that the Xiao family's affairs have been resolved, all that remains is the daughter's lifelong happiness. In order to create opportunities for Murong Qingshui, Xiao Chen must be kept at Murong's house for a few days. I've known about this for a long time. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this and glanced at the invitation. Speaking of which, I know that you have the purple pill of restoration in your hands, and I only found out about it after being reminded by Cloud Mountain. With that said, Xiao Chen took the invitation, opened it and glanced at it. He was a little curious. Xi'an Chamber of Commerce will auction it in 2 days. Apart from the pills he provided, what other rare treasures are there? Huh? Earth rank flying treasure? Wind God Wing? This seems like a good thing. After scanning the auction list on the invitation, Xiao Chen was immediately attracted to one of the items. Before his cultivation reaches the Grotto Heaven realm, the martial artist cannot cross the void unless there are some flying treasures to help him. Although there are some flying treasures in the system mall, he can only exchange them for profound rank treasures due to his limited cultivation. The most important thing is that he cannot improve the quality of the items redeemed in the system mall. So although Xiao Chen was a little tempted before, he still didn't redeem it in the mall. After all, flying treasures at the profound rank level are a bit useless to him. But if he can find flying treasures in the outside world, he can synthesize or upgrade them through the system. As long as he has enough points, he can even directly upgrade to Saint rank, let alone heavenly rank level flying treasure. By then, with a high-level flying treasure, he will not only be able to fly freely. He can also possess terrifying physical skills and even abnormally strong defense. We must get this flying treasure. As the thoughts in his heart fell, a strange color appeared in Xiao Chen's eyes. Huh? There is actually a heavenly rank pill? Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill? After making up his mind, Xiao Chen glanced at another object, with a look of surprise on his face. Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill. This is a rare healing elixir that can not only repair physical injuries, but also has a purifying effect on true energy. It can purify some fire poisons and some high-level toxins. Therefore, Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill, even in the eyes of celestial human realm experts, is a rare life-saving trump card. Unexpectedly, the grand finale of this auction would be this heavenly rank elixir. This actually made Xiao Chen a little curious. What could this bottom line thing be? Young master, are you interested in this auction? After noticing the change in Xiao Chen's expression, Murong Fu's eyes also lit up, and then he said impatiently. The auction will not start until 2 days. Why not stay at Murong's house for these 2 days? We will go to the auction venue together then, and we can take care of each other. Hearing Murong Fu's words and seeing the bright expression on his face, Xiao Chen suddenly had an ominous premonition. This kind of attitude, he looks a bit like the 2 useless elders of the Xiao family. Could it be that Murong Fu also wants to get his daughter into his bed? Well, I'll stay here temporarily for the next 2 days, but I have something to do now and I have to go to Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. After a moment of silence, Xiao Chen replied casually. Kayan is recovering her cultivation at this time and will not be able to get out of seclusion for a while. Staying at Murong's house these days, we can take care of each other. After saying that, Xiao Chen handed back the invitation and planned to go to Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. Master, please be patient, the old man has something to ask of me. Seeing that Xiao Chen wanted to go out alone, Murong Bo suddenly spoke. After Xiao Chen turned around after hearing this, Murong Bo coughed dryly and continued. Thanks to Mr. Xiao, Xiao Shui is now no different from ordinary people. But she hasn't stepped out of Murong's house for several years. I'm afraid she still hasn't been able to adjust her state of mind. And Mr. Xiao and Xiao Shui are very close to each other, so I would like to implore Mr. Xiao. Can you take Xiao Shui out to relax and help us enlighten this child? After saying that, Murong Bo patted Murong Fu, and the 2 of them bowed to Xiao Chen. Their attitude seemed very sincere. This made Xiao Chen's mouth twitch. Okay, he guessed right, he wanted to give it to a woman again. He had been tortured by Queen Medusa all night last night, and there were 3 women waiting eagerly in the Xiao family. Now come to Murong's house and another stunning beauty comes. Is it possible that he is really destined to fall in love, and will be beautiful for the rest of his life? Grandpa, do you think I dress well today? When Xiao Chen felt depressed, A clear voice came and Murong Qingshui also appeared in the inner courtyard. Well, what Murong Qingshui looks like today, young master. After stepping into the gate of the inner courtyard, seeing Murong Bo and Murong Fu bowing to Xiao Chen, Murong Qingshui was immediately stunned, thinking that they were discussing some important matter. Xiao Chen also looked over at this time, and his eyes lit up slightly when he saw Murong Qingshui's outfit. She is indeed a beauty who can compete with Queen Medusa. She has a different charm after changing her clothes today. Ha ha ha, my Xiao Shui looks good in anything she wears. Seeing Murong Qingshui not far away, Murong Bo raised his head and laughed. Master Xiao is going to Xi'an Chamber of Commerce, and you also want to go out to relax, so why don't you two just be company? Hearing Murong Bo's words, Murong Qingshui was a little confused. When was she going to relax? But seeing Murong Bo winking at her, Murong Qingshui remembered what Murong Bo said yesterday and understood that the other party was creating opportunities for her. His face, which was still a little confused at first, turned a little red at this moment. As long as it doesn't disturb young Master Xiao, Qingshui will go with us to have a look. Murong Qingshui came to Xiao Chen with a blushing face, and Murong Qingshui responded in a low voice. After saying that, he didn't even dare to raise his head. He could only pinch the corners of his clothes nervously, for fear of being rejected by Xiao Chen. Chapter 56. It turns out that this is the feeling of being chased. No wonder those beauties in the previous life were so beautiful. This won't bother you. Seeing Murong Bo and Murong Fu looking nervous, Murong Qingshui almost had his clothes ripped to pieces. Xiao Chen said with a slight smile. Although he feels a little sad that his luck in love is too good, Xiao Chen will not be so hypocritical as to push beautiful women out. So after thinking about it for a while, Xiao Chen didn't refuse. Thank you, Mr. Xiao. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Murong Bo and Murong Fu were overjoyed, and even Murong Qingshui raised her head sharply. However, after meeting Xiao Chen's gaze, he lowered his head nervously and shyly. A heart is more like a small deer bumping around, beating constantly under the giant thing. The young master did not reject her. This means Mr. Xiao is not disgusted with her at present, and even has a little favorable impression of her. Therefore, as long as she works hard and becomes better, maybe in the future, like the woman in red, she could always be by Mr. Xiao's side and share his worries. It can even warm the bed and help the young master carry on the family lineage. Thinking of this, Murong Qingshui's face turned even redder, and her body was trembling slightly with excitement. Let's go. Seeing Murong Qingshui lowering her head and shaking with excitement, Xiao Chen suddenly touched his chin in embarrassment. After saying these two words, he turned around and walked out. It turns out that this is the feeling of being chased. No wonder those beauties in the previous life were floating. This feeling, there are indeed hundreds of millions of bits of fun. Currently, this is based on the premise that the other party is a beauty. If it were replaced by the tall and thick Ruha sister, he would probably become very anxious. Master, wait for me. Seeing Xiao Chen walking out first, Murong Qingshui looked up sharply. After glancing at Murong Fu and Murong Bo, and feeling the encouragement from the two elders, they chased after them. Sure enough, it's a female college student who doesn't stay in college. Murong Fu looked at the two people's leaving figures and murmured with emotion for a moment. However, before he could finish his words, he received a slap on the forehead. I won't be able to save a head. Xiao Shui is so lucky to meet Mr. Xiao. Do you still want her to stay in Murong's house and cry in tears like before? After being scolded by his father, Murong Fu raised his head in grievance. Although his current cultivation level could kill the opponent with one slap, he did not dare to make any mistakes. What are you doing standing there stupidly? Hurry up and follow. Seeing Murong Fu's stupid appearance, Murong Bo was furious again, and then he said with hatred. Tiandu City is going to hold an auction in the next few days, and there must be forces from all sides arriving one after another. You can really trust Mr. Xiao and your daughter to go out like this. Why don't you hurry up and follow them to protect their two ancestors in secret? If someone with no eyesight collides with Mr. Xiao, do you think I will hang you up and serve you after I recover my cultivation? After hearing Murong Bo's words, Murong Fu also woke up. There are a lot of good things in this auction, and there are even heavenly rank items. There are more than one or two first-rate forces attracted here. Even the top forces of the Great Qian dynasty will even send some cronies over. Thinking about it at this time, this has doubled the pressure on the city lord's mansion. I hope nothing will happen in the past few days. When the thought falls, after Murong Fu responded to Murong Bo, he secretly followed Xiao Chen and Murong Qingshui. Murong Bo shook his head and turned back to the side room. There are still 2 days left. He should be able to refine the soul resurrection purple pill and restore his cultivation to the second level of universal truth. By then, with him as the old city lord around, the Murong family's status in Tiandu City will be even more secure. The other side, Xiao Chen and Murong Qingshui also arrived at Xi'an Chamber of Commerce after walking for half an hour. Along the way, Murong Qingshui was a little cautious at first, but after seeing various stalls on the street, his expression changed from nervous at the beginning to curious and excited at the end. Even when I saw a building that was different from what I remembered from my childhood, I was able to talk a lot to Xiao Chen. That kind of cheerfulness that got rid of the shadow of the past, coupled with that beautiful face, made many practitioners stunned. But fortunately, there is no one who is short-sighted and dares to come up and cause trouble in broad daylight. So the two of them came to Xi'an Chamber of Commerce smoothly. "Sir, you are finally back. Elder Cloud Mountain has invited you." When Xiao Chen led Murong Qingshui into the lobby, the maid at the front desk who had received them last time walked over with excitement on her face. "Lead the way." Xiao Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. Did Cloud Mountain have something important to do with him? Feeling a little curious in their hearts, the two of them also came to the VIP room to wait. "Ha ha ha, Mr. Xiao. It seems that he didn't spend the night in the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce yesterday. Could it be that he thought our Chamber of Commerce didn't provide good hospitality?" As a voice came with a loud laugh, Cloud Mountain came to the VIP room. However, when he saw that the person beside Xiao Chen was not Kayan, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. "Hey, who is this?" Looking at Murong Qingshui's strange yet beautiful face. Even though Cloud Mountain was old, he couldn't help but stare blankly at this moment, and immediately asked with some surprise. "This young Master Xiao is really lucky. Yesterday I followed a stunning woman in red, and today I followed an inexperienced woman in white. This appearance and temperament are almost as good as that of the stunningly talented young lady from their Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. Her name is Murong Qingshui." Xiao Chen just smiled lightly when he heard this and said Murong Qingshui's name. "Murong Qingshui. This name is so familiar. Hiss. Dachi. Dachi is Murong Fu's daughter." Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Cloud Mountain was stunned for a moment, and then thought of something. The pupil shrank violently at this moment, and his face showed a look of disbelief. "Murong Qingshui, isn't it rumored that he has red spots on his face and red hair all over his body, and looks like an uncivilized monkey? Why is she now a stunning beauty who is not inferior to the eldest lady of their Xi'an Chamber of Commerce? Could it be?" In this shock, Cloud Mountain seemed to have thought of something and looked at Xiao Chen in shock. "Good. It was me who cured Miss Murong, and I successfully obtained a soul-reviving purple pill." Seeing Cloud Mountain's guess, Xiao Chen nodded and said. As he spoke, he took out a pill bottle without any ink marks. This resurrection purple pill is the finished product obtained by refining the Murong family's pill using my own secret method. You should auction it together in 2 days. After saying that, Xiao Chen let go of the elixir bottle and sipped the tea calmly. This is just the finished elixir obtained by Xiao Chen after repairing one of the fragments of the resurrection purple pill. No quality upgrade has been carried out, so the grade is only rank 7. As for the other restoring purple pills, he has no plans to sell them for the time being. The reason why he did this was because he was worried about being suspected by the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce, so other pills could only be sold in the future. After all, the Murong family only has one purple pill of restoration, and the world also knows that it is a low-quality rank 7 pill. And he was still looking for the soul-reviving purple pill yesterday, and today he can come up with a bunch of soul-reviving purple pill, which will inevitably lead to the suspicion of the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. Other restoring purple pills. We can only wait for him to give Xi'an Chamber of Commerce a hint and exchange them for resources after a while. Chapter 57. Miss Zilla is mainly here for Mr. Xiao. Resurrection. Resurrection Spirit Purple Pill? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Cloud Mountain took a sharp breath, with a look of confusion on his face. "Sir, are you sure? To auction this thing? The soul-reviving purple pill I just got yesterday was put up for auction today." The thoughts of Mr. Xiao are really unpredictable. He thought that Xiao Chen came to inquire about the purple pill of restoration yesterday to restore his fallen cultivation to someone, but he didn't expect that the other party would put it up for auction after getting it. This is simply a mysterious operation, don't be so surprised. Seeing Cloud Mountain looking at him with a weird look on his face, Xiao Chen waved his hand and replied calmly. "This resurrection purple pill. I have used a unique secret method to analyze the ingredients and send all the information to my master. With my master's ability, I believe that the elixir formula will be available in the near future. By then, there will be as many rejuvenating purple elixirs as you need. So this low-grade rank 7 soul-restoring purple pill is of little use to me now." These words are not meant to be pretentious. It was just to provide a more reasonable explanation for the future sale of other resurrection purple pills. As long as this information is passed to the Xian Chamber of Commerce headquarters through Cloud Mountain's mouth, he will definitely be a VIP of the Xian Chamber of Commerce in the future. Hiss. By analyzing the ingredients of the elixir through secret methods, can we deduce the corresponding elixir recipe? After Cloud Mountain heard what Xiao Chen said, he was almost frightened on the spot. Although some heavenly rank alchemists can also analyze some low-level elixirs and deduce the corresponding elixir recipes. This is limited to elixirs below profound rank. For elixirs of rank 5 or above, even if the corresponding ingredients are known, there is no corresponding method. There are also how to control the fire in the furnace, the order of elixir refining and integrated union. If there is a slight mistake, it is almost impossible to refine the finished elixir, and it is even possible to refine it into a poisonous elixir or a useless elixir. And the resurrection purple pill is a heavenly rank pill. I have never heard of any heavenly rank alchemist in the Great Qian dynasty who can analyze heavenly rank elixirs. The master behind Mr. Xiao must be a saint rank alchemist. And it is still a terrifying existence that has reached its peak in the saint rank level. When his heart was overwhelmed with shock, Cloud Mountain tremblingly picked up the elixir bottle, and then poured out the resurrection purple pill inside. Although the purple elixir has no elixir pattern, it exudes a strong elixir fragrance. This elixir is of excellent color and has a rich and mellow aroma. It looks like it has just been refined. Master Xiao, is this definitely the one from the Murong family? After careful observation and identification, Cloud Mountain looked up with a shocked expression. The Murong family's purple pill of restoration has been around for 13 years now. No matter how well it is preserved, a lot of its medicinal power will be lost. But the restoring purple pill in front of me is of high-grade quality and potency, and it doesn't look like a long-stored pill at all. This makes Cloud Mountain a bit unclear. Didn't I just say that this elixir was refined by me using secret techniques, so the quality is as good as it is now? Seeing Cloud Mountain's expression of disbelief, Xiao Chen didn't feel angry at all and just explained with a slight smile. After all, a pill has been stored for 13 years and still has such powerful medicinal power. Any normal person would be suspicious. If you still can't believe it, you can use professional equipment to test it. After speaking, Xiao Chen took a sip of tea, without any panic on his face. Fraud is totally unnecessary for him. Ha ha ha, Mr. Xiao is joking. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Cloud Mountain immediately laughed and then put away the soul-reviving purple pill. But this auction is no longer in charge of me. I have to report it first. Originally, he only applied for an auction, but the Xian Chamber of Commerce headquarters gave him full authority to handle it. But because Xiao Chen took out a lot of supreme-grade elixirs. After he reported everything about Xiao Chen and the list of items to the Chamber of Commerce headquarters, the Xian Chamber of Commerce unexpectedly decided to take photos of a few more valuable things temporarily, and would also send someone over to host the auction. And this person turned out to be the eldest lady of the Xian Chamber of Commerce, a proud woman well known in the Great Qian dynasty. Purple. Therefore, Cloud Mountain is not the first person in charge of this auction, but this young lady who has not officially arrived in Tiandu City is. You're not in charge anymore? Xiao Chen's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this, and he looked at Cloud Mountain doubtfully. Ha ha ha, that's right. The auction will now be hosted by Miss Zilla. I want to introduce you to you when I see you today. After saying that, Cloud Mountain glanced at Murong Qingshui, and couldn't help but reveal a strange color in his eyes. In his impression, Zi Luo was no less beautiful than Murong Qingshui, and even had a more mature charm than her. It would be a feast for his eyes to see these two women appear together later. Zi Luo? After hearing this somewhat familiar name, Xiao Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. When he was inquiring about information about Xi'an Chamber of Commerce yesterday, he heard this name from others. It is said that the president of the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce gave birth to a daughter when he was 138 years old. She is the daughter of heaven who is loved by thousands of people in the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. Not only did Martial Dao's talent reach the heavenly rank, he also cultivated to the 9th level of Xuandan at the age of 23. Even his business talent is top-notch. At a young age, he has already hosted dozens of large-scale auctions, and even generated astonishing revenue of 1 billion for Xi'an Chamber of Commerce in these years. She is regarded by the world as one of the 3 talented women of the Great Qian dynasty, and has even attracted the pursuit and support of many geniuses. Quite famous within the Great Qian dynasty. Unexpectedly, Zi Luo would be alerted to this auction. Ha ha ha, actually Miss Zilla came here mainly for Mr. Xiao. The headquarters knows that the master of the young master is an expert hermit, so they want to discuss some cooperation matters with the young master. And I'm not old enough for this kind of thing, so the headquarters sent Miss Zilla here. Cloud Mountain had nothing to hide and immediately explained it to Xiao Chen. Calculating the time, Miss Ziluo's flying profound arc should be arriving at Tiandu City soon. If Xiao Chen has nothing important to do, why not just wait here at the Chamber of Commerce for a while? Branch President, Miss Ziluo's profound arc has arrived. Just as Cloud Mountain finished speaking, a maid suddenly ran in and reported nervously. This came faster than expected. It seems that Miss Zilla attaches great importance to Mr. Xiao. After hearing the maid's report, Cloud Mountain stood up suddenly and cupped his hands towards Xiao Chen. Mr. Xiao, please wait here for a moment. I have to go greet Miss Zilla. After saying that, before Xiao Chen could answer, Cloud Mountain ran out happily. One of the 3 talented women of Great Qian dynasty. Looking at Cloud Mountain's leaving figure, Xiao Chen took a sip of tea and his eyes couldn't help but twinkle. If we can establish a cooperative relationship with Xi'an Chamber of Commerce through this rich lady, then if he wants to collect resources in the future, it will be much easier than imagined. Even in a short period of time, it is easy to get the points to exceed 800,000. When thoughts fall, Xiao Chen's face showed a hint of excitement, and he also had a strong interest in Zilla. This scene, Murong Qingshui saw everything. Seeing that Xiao Chen seemed to be interested in Zi Luo, Murong Qingshui's expression couldn't help but become a little sad. The young master really likes excellent women. It seemed like she had to work harder to get the young master interested. When the thought fell, Murong Qingshui showed determination in her eyes. She wanted to become even better for young Master Xiao. In this life, I am crazy about the young master, and have children for the young master. Chapter 58. She is worthy of being the eldest lady of Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. Her courage is really unmatched by ordinary people. Half an hour later, after waiting patiently, Cloud Mountain turned back again. Ha ha ha, Mr. Xiao has been waiting for a long time. This is Miss Zilla from our Chamber of Commerce headquarters. As Cloud Mountain's voice came, several figures also walked into the wing. This made Xiao Chen and Murong Qingshui both look up. When they saw the leading woman, both of them had a look of surprise in their eyes. Her lavender hair draped down her shoulders like a waterfall, exuding an elegant beauty. The beautiful face is like a fairy in a painting, and paired with the enchanting red lips, it shows a different kind of charm. This person is Zi Luo, the daughter of the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce and one of the 3 most talented women in the Great Qian dynasty. Image of Violet. So beautiful. Seeing Zi Luo walking in, Murong Qingshui couldn't help but sigh, and her expression became a little inferior. Although her current appearance and figure are not much worse than the woman in front of her. But this person has a charming and mature charm, as well as a graceful, elegant and confident temperament. It all gave her an incomparable sense of loss. She is indeed the daughter of the president of the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce, even if we don't mention Martial Dao's talent and business talent. Just this appearance and temperament can make countless women feel ashamed. When the thought falls, Murong Qingshui looked at Xiao Chen, wanting to see his reaction. However, Murong Qingshe's expression was slightly startled when she saw that Xiao Chen was only looking at him admiringly and not showing any intoxication. It seems that the beauty next to Mr. Xiao is no weaker than Ziluo in appearance and temperament. If not, Mr. Xiao would not be so indifferent. He must have seen too many beauties like this. Master Xiao, I've kept you waiting for a long time. Seeing the handsome Xiao Chen in front of her, Ziluo showed an apologetic smile after walking into the wang. Along the way, she had already heard Cloud Mountain report everything about Xiao Chen, and even learned that the other party had just taken out a soul-reviving purple pill. He could even analyze the ingredients of the elixir through secret methods and pass the information to his master to deduce the elixir recipe. The most outrageous thing is, Xiao Chen himself can refine the elixir through secret methods and restore the damaged elixir to its peak. This kind of thing was simply unheard of, and it refreshed her understanding of alchemy. Only an alchemy master who has reached the saint rank level may be able to create such a terrifying secret method. So, from the moment she left the Xuanzhou to the time she entered the Chamber of Commerce, Ziluo's attention to Xiao Chen had reached a rare level. It doesn't matter. Xiao Chen stood up after hearing this and replied indifferently. I've heard for a long time that Miss Ziluo is one of the 3 most talented women in the dynasty. Today, when I see her, she truly deserves her reputation. After some polite exchanges, Xiao Chen didn't praise the other party too much, but asked straight to the point. Miss Ziluo, I heard from the Cloud Mountain Elder. This time, in addition to hosting this auction, do you also want to discuss cooperation with Xiao? The words fell. Immediately, a strange color appeared in Ziluo's eyes, and she glanced at Xiao Chen appreciatively. In the past, when other men talked to her, they would stare at her with burning eyes. I can't wait to say a lot of good things in an attempt to please this eldest lady. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen was so indifferent, and his eyes had no burning meaning, as if he had no interest in her. This made Ziluo feel quite fond of her, and of course she also aroused a sense of curiosity. Since Mr. Xiao speaks quickly, we won't beat around the bush. Ziluo smiled charmingly when she heard this, and then asked tentatively. I don't know, can we meet the master behind Mr. Xiao through Mr. Xiao's recommendation? She and her father originally speculated on the information passed through Cloud Mountain. The master behind Xiao Chen is a heavenly rank alchemy master. But now, after learning the new information about Xiao Chen, she feels that the person behind Xiao Chen is probably a saint rank alchemist. If you can meet this kind of existence, win him over to the Xian Chamber of Commerce. The Xian Chamber of Commerce's status within the Great Qian dynasty will even surpass that of the Daqin royal family in the near future. After all, the energy possessed by a saint rank alchemist is more terrifying than that of a saint rank expert. If Xian Chamber of Commerce has a saint rank alchemist sitting in charge, by then, not to mention the strong men of the Great Qian dynasty, even the strong men of other dynasties in the eastern wasteland will come to Xian Chamber of Commerce one after another. And the Xian Chamber of Commerce will become one of the transcendent apex-level forces within the 7 dynasties of the eastern wasteland. Sorry, my master has always kept aloof from the world. He likes to live alone in the mountains and does not want to be disturbed by outsiders. Even though I am master's disciple, I cannot bring outsiders to see him without authorization. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this and refused Ziluo's proposal. It's such a pity. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, although Ziluo felt a little regretful, she was not angry at all. After a pause, he said with a smile, although I can't see Master Xiao's charisma, it's a blessing to be able to make friends with such a talented person as Master Xiao. With that said, before Xiao Chen could reply, Ziluo took out a token. This is the token held by the honorary elder of our Xian Chamber of Commerce. I would like to invite the young master to serve as the honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce. If there is nothing important, we won't ask the young master to do things. Only when the Chamber of Commerce encounters some difficulties, the young master can help as much as possible. As an honorary elder of the Chamber of Commerce, not only can the young master receive 1 million spiritual crystals as a salary every year, but he can also get 90% of the profits from the auctioned items. You can even enjoy a 20% discount when shopping at any branch of the Xian Chamber of Commerce with this token. And once the Chamber of Commerce obtains any treasure, if the young master needs it, it will have priority to purchase it. Without asking Xiao Chen what he wanted from cooperation, Ziluo offered a lot of benefits. This not only shocked Xiao Chen, but also Cloud Mountain and Murong Qingshui, who were standing by, were shocked and dumbfounded. Honorary Elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce. There have always been only some celestial human realm powerhouses, or some heavenly rank alchemy masters, to be eligible for this benefit. Unexpectedly, this Miss Zilla would invite Xiao Chen as soon as she came up. It seemed that Zi Luo valued Xiao Chen more than they imagined. As expected of the eldest lady of the Xian Chamber of Commerce, this courage is really unmatched by ordinary people. After Xiao Chen was silent for a while, he first praised Zi Luo, and then said something meaningful in his voice. But Xiao is just a young man. You invite Xiao to become an honorary elder. Aren't you afraid that Xiao will not be able to bring benefits to the Chamber of Commerce, and that other honorary elders will also have opinions? The honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce is a symbol of identity and status. There are many powerful people who are unable to become honorary elders despite all their efforts. If people knew that Zi Luo made an 18-year-old junior become an honorary elder without any contribution, I'm afraid some senior officials of the Chamber of Commerce will have some opinions. Zi Luo is right in judging people. Mr. Xiao can become the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce. Maybe our Xian Chamber of Commerce has taken advantage of him. Hearing this, Zi Luo did not answer the question directly, but just replied with a smile in a joking manner. As for the Chamber of Commerce, they won't have any objections. Some people. The Chamber of Commerce has done its best to support them. If you still have any objections, I don't mind a big purge. At the end of this sentence, he became a bit cold and domineering. It's like a business queen declaring her status. Chapter 59. With such a reverse bargaining transaction, are you really not afraid that Xian Chamber of Commerce will lose money? As these words fell, there was a sudden silence in the VIP room. Whether it was Cloud Mountain, Murong Qingshui, or Zi Luo, the protector, all had expressions of disbelief on their faces. Although she knew Zi Luo wanted to win over Xiao Chen, she didn't expect her attitude to be so determined. Even if there is opposition from high-level officials within the Chamber of Commerce, can she even carry out a purge for Xiao Chen? This Miss Zilla must have fallen in love with Mr. Xiao at first sight, right? Since Miss Zilla has already said this, it would seem a bit artificial if Xiao makes excuses again. When others were shocked, Xiao Chen said with a slight smile, and then reached out to take the token. He originally wanted to cooperate with Xian Chamber of Commerce to use the other party's energy to collect more resources and items. Becoming an honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce is just a name in the Chamber of Commerce, but you can enjoy a series of benefits. For him, the advantages undoubtedly outweighed the disadvantages, and he had absolutely no reason to refuse the other party. No way, this young lady has given me too much. Thank you Mr. Xiao for the favor. Zi Luo smiled charmingly when she heard this, and then bowed slightly to Xiao Chen. The appearance of a wealthy lady made Xiao Chen very fond of her. Xiao has gained a position in the Xian Chamber of Commerce, and he will not eat food and do nothing in the future. Next, Xiao will contact my master and ask him to refine a batch of elixirs and send them over. Under Zi Luo's surprised look, Xiao Chen smiled lightly and threw a big bang. As long as the Chamber of Commerce can help my master collect a large amount of resources and items, my master can not only provide the Chamber of Commerce with some high-level elixirs, but also some high-level mysterious weapons, and even some high-level formation discs. After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Zi Luo couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Master Xiao, is it possible that your master also knows how to refine weapons and set up formations? Well, it's all slightly involved. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this and said in a calm voice. He likes to delve into other disciplines in his spare time, so he also has some experience in weapon refining and formation. Simply getting some heavenly rank mysterious weapons or heavenly rank formation discs is a trivial matter for him. This rhetoric is not to show off, but to pave the way for the sale of mysterious weapons and formation discs. Hiss. Could it be that Mr. Xiao's master is an all-around saint rank expert? After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Zi Luo and others took a sharp breath, and couldn't help but have this thought in their minds. If Xiao Chen hadn't exaggerated, Xian Chamber of Commerce would have embraced it this time. Master has always been mysterious. I don't know what level he has reached, but there should be few people in the Eastern Wasteland who can compare with him. Xiao Chen continued to brag after hearing this, directly shaping this master into an invincible character. By then, as he gradually reveals more things in the future, even the world will know his extraordinary qualities. This persona can also be used as a means of protection. Even if some people are greedy for what he has on him, they still haven't fully figured out the master behind him. I don't have the guts to take risks, unless the other party is a brainless person, or has a blood feud with him. Mr. Xiao, I heard from Elder Cloud Mountain about collecting resources and items before I came to Tiandu City. Although I came in a bit of a hurry this time, I also brought a batch of supplies from the headquarters. I just wonder if I can satisfy Master Ling? After taking a deep breath to calm down, Ziluo seemed to have thought of something. He took off a Na ring on his hand and handed it to Xiao Chen. This is a batch of waste materials that Xian Chamber of Commerce has stored in Daqin Imperial City for a long time. Its value should be between 5 and 6 million spiritual crystals. They even brought resources. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he immediately took the ring. As the spiritual sense penetrated, he saw that the huge space ring was filled with mountains of supplies. Even Xiao Chen was startled, and his breathing even became a little rapid. This amount of supplies is about 70% to 80% more than what Cloud Mountain gave him yesterday. It is indeed the Xian Chamber of Commerce. A random sum of resources would be more than what he could collect by running around. Cooperating with Xian Chamber of Commerce is indeed the right choice. Here is another picture of Zilla. This one was made by the author using the previous original picture as a template. I posted the original picture in the comment area. I wonder if it can be displayed. How much does Miss Zilla bid for this batch of supplies? After scanning the supplies, Xiao Chen raised his head and asked. The price given by the Chamber of Commerce for this batch of supplies is 5.8 million spiritual crystals. However, Mr. Xiao is already an honorary elder of the Chamber of Commerce and can enjoy a 20% discount on any item purchased. That's 4.64 million spiritual crystals. Ziluo smiled slightly when she heard this, and then quoted the price. But when Xiao Chen was about to speak, her eyes flickered and she continued. However, today is Mr. Xiao's first day in the Chamber of Commerce. He should enjoy some more discounts. The remaining Zilla will help Mr. Xiao make a zero. Ziluo only received 4 million spirit crystals from the young master for this batch of supplies. It would be difficult to explain to Ziluo no matter how low he goes back. Hiss, here the last price Ziluo gave. Cloud Mountain, Marong Qingshui, and the old woman in green were all shocked and gasped. The resources of 5.8 million spiritual crystals were abruptly reduced to 4 million. A full 1.8 million spiritual crystals are missing. Such a huge amount of money, even the Lord's mansion of Tiandu City, would not be able to come up with it within a few years. Is this Miss Zilla from the Xian Chamber of Commerce, or from Mr. Xiao in front of me? With such a reverse bargaining transaction, are you really not afraid that Xian Chamber of Commerce will lose money? Miss Zilla is really a passionate person. Xiao Chen looked at Ziluo with admiration, and his favorability level soared again. This woman was willing to spend so much money in order to win over him. She is indeed one of the 3 most talented women in the Great Qian dynasty. However, Xiao only has 1.38 million spiritual crystals on him, and he still owes Elder Cloud Mountain 3 million spiritual crystals that he has not paid back. When the thoughts in his mind came to an end, Xiao Chen coughed and said awkwardly. It doesn't matter. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Ziluo waved her hands and said. Young Master Xiao can owe these 7 million spiritual crystals for the time being, and you can make up for them when you have them. The unconcerned look seemed like these 7 million spiritual crystals were nothing to Ziluo. Since Miss Zilla trusts Xiao so much, Xiao is too embarrassed to say anything. After this auction is over, I will ask my master to send a batch of elixirs. There will be at least 8 rank 7 soul restoration purple pills and 2 rank 8 soul restoration purple pills. As for the quality of the elixirs, if nothing else, they should all be supreme grade. After putting away the space ring, Xiao Chen said to Ziluo with a faint smile. These words made Ziluo, Cloud Mountain and others look shocked, and they all looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Rank 7 Restoration Purple Pill. In the past, a single crystal could be auctioned for more than 1 million spirit crystals, and if it was supreme grade, it could even fetch 2 or 3 times more. And rank 8's a Resurrection Purple Pill. In the past, One crystal could be auctioned for more than 5 million, and if it was supreme grade, it could also be sold for 2 or 3 times more. Therefore, if Xiao Chen can really come up with so many soul-resurrecting purple pills, this will be a big deal worth 20 to 30 million. Master Xiao, are you sure? After Zi Luo took a deep breath, she asked with a trembling voice. If Xiao Chen can really provide so many soul-restoring purple pills, the Xian Chamber of Commerce can use this as a bargaining chip and hold many large-scale auctions across the dynasty. You can even use the purple pill of restoration to snare some strong men whose cultivation has declined. By then, the Xian Chamber of Commerce will become even stronger. Xiao always does what he says. Xiao Chen just smiled lightly when he heard this, and his words showed strong confidence. Giving Xian Chamber of Commerce elixirs to auction will always be harmless to him. Any system repair synthesis or upgraded elixir. After being taken by others, they all have indirect contact with him. As long as he spends another 3,000 points, he can make this indirect connection. Let the system secretly plant a contract with this person, so that this person will have a fanatical impression of him. That is to say, even a person with advanced cultivation can find a way to turn him into one of his own as long as he takes Xiao Chen's elixir. Besides, for any mysterious weapon or formation disk that has been repaired, synthesized, or upgraded by the system, even if it is transferred to others for refining and use, he is still the first person to control this treasure. This is another abnormality of the system. Chapter 60. Uninvited guest, Prince Genen's wooing. In that case, Zi Luo will wait for Mr. Xiao's good news. Seeing Xiao Chen's confident look, Zi Luo revealed a charming smile. Ha ha ha, Miss Zilla. I heard that you are coming to Tiandu City to host an auction. My prince rushed over here without stopping, but I didn't expect to arrive a step later than you. Just when Zi Luo finished her words, Xiao Chen was about to reply. As a loud laugh came, several figures also broke into the side room. This sudden intrusion of an uninvited guest made Xiao Chen and others frown and look towards the entrance of the room. Xian Chamber of Commerce is guarded by strict guards, and they were able to break in while they were discussing important matters. It seems that the identity of this group of people is not simple. When the thought fell, Xiao Chen also saw the person clearly. The leader was a young man wearing a golden python pattern, followed by several other figures, 2 of whom he recognized. It was Nalan Shiji and the old man in gray who went to Marong's house to break off their engagement yesterday. I didn't expect to bump into each other here. We really are enemies on the same road. Qingshui. Nalan Shiji, who just walked in, also saw Xiao Chen and Marong Qingshui. This made him look slightly stunned, and then he remembered what happened yesterday, with blazing anger in his eyes. His Royal Highness the 5th Prince broke into the VIP room of the Chamber of Commerce without permission. Are you doing this? A bit overbearing and rude? Seeing the man in brocade clothes in front of her, Zi Luo frowned slightly and said in a cold voice. This person is the 5th son of the great Qian dynasty Zhenan King, a martial Dao genius with heavenly ranked middle-grade talent. He has cultivated to the 9th level of Xuandan at the age of 24. His name is Yang Xiao. He is also one of her crazy suitors, but he is disgusted by his domineering behavior. However, because the other party was the eldest son of Zhenan Palace, Zi Luo couldn't completely break up with this guy, so she could only tolerate some of his behavior. Ha ha ha, my prince also wants to see Miss Zilla so much. This will inevitably be a bit abrupt in the emergency. Looking at the woman in front of him who was 1 year younger than him but with the same cultivation level as him, Yang Xiao's eyes looked very hot. She has a beautiful face and a talent even better than him. He even has a good background behind him, and his talent is even more stunning to the dynasty. Such a perfect woman must be his concubine, Yang Xiao. Hey, who is this? After silently reciting in his mind that he wanted to get Zilla, Yang Xiao looked at Xiao Chen aside. Is this guy, who is so close to Zi Luo, also a suitor? Your Highness, this person is the person I mentioned to you before. The person next to him is Marong Qingshui. Just as Yang Xiao finished speaking, Nalan Shiji on the side couldn't wait to stand up and say. After saying that, he stared at Xiao Chen jealously, and couldn't help clenching his fists tightly. If it hadn't been for this person's appearance yesterday, how could he be humiliated if he broke off the engagement at Marong's house? And how could Marong Qingshui transform from an alien who was not worthy of him to a woman that made him drool? The humiliation he suffered yesterday was all thanks to this guy Xiao Chen. What? After hearing Nalan Shiji's words, Yang Xiao's expression couldn't help but change. He stared at Xiao Chen, then laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, brother Xiao, I was planning to find you. I didn't expect to meet you here. It seems that the two of us are really destined." After his eyes flickered, Yang Xiao walked up to Xiao Chen and extended an invitation to Xiao Chen. "I've heard about you. You have cultivated to the 7th level of spiritual aperture when you were only 18 years old. Martial Dao's talent is even more evil than my eldest son. Even in just a few moments, Murong Qingxue can be cured. That kind of miraculous medical method would make even alchemy king Ji Yuqing feel ashamed." As these words fell, Zi Luo couldn't help but widen her eyes. He looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief, and glanced at Murong Qingxue next to him. She actually knew a little bit about Murong Qingxue. Unexpectedly, something that even Ji Yuqing couldn't handle was easily solved by Xiao Chen in front of him. Even the opponent's talent is very evil, you know. Even if she has the talent of martial Dao with a high heavenly rank, she only reached the 2nd level of spiritual aperture when she was 18 years old. And Xiao Chen can reach the 7th level of spiritual aperture at the age of 18. How monstrous is this talent? She wanted to get in touch with the mysterious master through Xiao Chen, but she didn't expect that Xiao Chen himself was such a monster. This time, making Xiao Chen the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce is definitely the wisest decision he has ever made in his life. "Brother Xiao, I would like to invite you to join Genin Palace and become a follower of my son. When this prince becomes the new generation of Genin king in the future, you will be my right-hand man." When Zi Luo was shocked, Yang Xiao said in a strong voice. These two sentences may seem like invitations, but in reality they are irrefutable. After all, he is the eldest son of the Genin Palace. It is a great honor for the other party to invite others so actively. "Your Highness the 5th Prince, Mr. Xiao is the honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce. I'm afraid it wouldn't be good for you to poach people in front of me, right?" When Xiao Chen frowned slightly when he heard this, Zi Luo beside him couldn't help but said. This Yang Xiao wanted to improve his status in the heart of Genin King. It really took a lot of effort. Not only did he put his idea on her head, but now he even wanted to win over Mr. Xiao? What? He is the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce. Hearing these two words from Zi Luo, Yang Xiao's pupils shrank sharply. Even Nalan Shiji and the old man in gray on the side had expressions of disbelief. Honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce. But they are all celestial human realm experts, or heavenly rank alchemists and weapon refiners. And of course there are also rare formation masters. Each of these people are old guys who have lived for hundreds of years, or even hundreds of years. And Xiao Chen is only 18 years old and can reach this step. It was unbelievable to him. Ha ha ha, brother Xiao can become the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce at such a young age. It seems that Miss Zilla values you very much. Seeing that Zi Luo seemed to care about Xiao Chen, Yang Xiao's eyes flashed with a cold light. And then he continued to invite with a smile on his face. But that's okay, my prince and Miss Zilla have a close relationship. Genin Prince's Palace and Xian Chamber of Commerce are like brothers. In a sense, they can be regarded as one family. Since brother Xiao serves as an elder at the Xian Chamber of Commerce, why not also work for our Genin Prince's mansion at the same time? This can also be mutually beneficial. I wonder what brother Xiao thinks. As the words fell, the room became dead silent. Nalan Shiji stared at Xiao Chen with a look of jealousy, his back molars almost shattered at this moment. The same age of 18. Xiao Chen has not only become an honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce, but his status is equivalent to that of some celestial human realm powerhouses. Even the Prince of Genin did not hesitate to lose face to win over the other party. This would simply make him explode with jealousy. It's really irritating. Chapter 61. A hypocrite hiding a knife behind his smile. Sorry, I refuse. Just when everyone's eyes fell on Xiao Chen, expecting the other party's answer. Xiao Chen refused without even thinking about it. Becoming an honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce will not restrict his freedom, but will also allow him to collect resources more advantageously. But if he joins Genin Palace, he will only get involved in power disputes. If he wanted to collect resources through the palace, he not only had to work hard to explain, but also beware of the covetousness of people from the palace. And the efficiency is far less than that of Xian Chamber of Commerce, and there is even a risk of being stabbed in the back. This would do him more harm than good. What's more, the Prince of Genin seems to be trying to win over him. But his attitude was still a bit condescending, and his tone of voice seemed to be giving alms. This attitude made him feel very uncomfortable. You refuse? After hearing Xiao Chen's answer, Yang Xiao narrowed his eyes slightly and asked in surprise. Brother Xiao, don't you know what the Genin Palace represents in the Great Qian dynasty? Nalan Shiji, the old man in gray and others on the side also looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief, obviously not expecting Xiao Chen to refuse. To know, the Genin Palace is within the Great Qian dynasty, but in addition to the Daqin royal family, Wanwaman, Fengyun Valley, and the Xian Chamber of Commerce, there are apex-level forces. There are several celestial human realm powerhouses in the palace, and one of them has reached the astonishing 8th level of celestial human realm. Even the Daqin royal family. We should also be wary of the Genin Palace, and even have to make concessions in some aspects. And Guangzhou, it is just one of the 18 states in the southern part of the Great Qian dynasty, even the top power in the desert state, Taiyi Sword Sect. When facing the Genin Palace, they could only follow the trend. I know, Genin Palace is one of the 5 apex-level forces in the Great Qian dynasty. However, I have always liked freedom and do not want to get involved in disputes. So, Xiao had no choice but to reject the prince's kindness. Xiao Chen just smiled faintly when he heard this, without any fear in his voice. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince invites you with good intentions, but you are so proud of yourself. Could it be that you look down on the Genin Palace? When Xiao Chen finished speaking, Nalan Shiji's eyes flashed and he suddenly stood up to Gong Huadao. Get off, did I ask you to speak? As soon as Nalan Shiji finished speaking, Yang Xiao glanced at the other party with a cold gaze, instantly making Nalan Shiji turn pale with fright. Since Brother Xiao does what he wants, I will no longer force him. After reprimanding Nalan Shiji, Yang Xiao said to Xiao Chen with a slight smile. But acquaintance is fate. If Brother Xiao figures it out in the future, the door of our Genin Palace will be open for Brother Xiao at any time. As he said that, Yang Xiao suddenly looked at Murong Qingshui next to him. After carefully sizing him up, a scorching sun flashed in his eyes. This is Miss Murong from the Lord's Mansion of Tiandu City, right? I didn't expect that under Brother Xiao's treatment, he would transform into such an amazing person. While speaking, Yang Xiao walked up to Murong Qingshui and continued speaking in a voice as gentle as a spring breeze. Miss Murong, are you interested in joining our Genin Palace? If Miss Murong is willing, I can find a strong person from the celestial human realm to be a teacher for Miss Murong. I can even ask my father to deploy 1,000 black-scale guards to help the Murong family guard Tiandu City and become the most powerful city lord's palace within a radius of thousands of miles. This woman. She has a face that is not weaker than Zi Luo's and is very talented, but her background is a bit weaker. If she can be brought into the Genin Prince's mansion and she can be nurtured well in the future, she can also become his princess. However, due to the existence of Zi Luo, Yang Xiao did not dare to show his ambition, so he could only speak tactfully. After hearing Yang Xiao's words, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, Yang Xiao failed to invite Xiao Chen to join, and instead turned to Murong Qingshui. Sorry, when Mr. Xiao cured Qingshui, Qingshui had already made up his mind to stay with Mr. Xiao. So Qingshui can only boldly refuse His Highness the Crown Prince's kindness. Seeing everyone's eyes falling on her instantly, Murong Qingshui was so nervous that her palms were sweating, but after taking a look at Xiao Chen, she finally plucked up the courage to speak. From the moment Xiao Chen pulled her out of the abyss, she could only live for Xiao Chen in this life. She will not be tempted by other men or other forces. After being rejected by Murong Qingshui, Yang Xiao narrowed his eyes slightly and a cold light flashed in his eyes. But he didn't show it on his face, he just smiled and said with regret. That's a pity. I never expected that Brother Xiao's good fortune would be so strong that a stunning woman like Miss Murong would be willing to follow and serve him. But Brother Xiao is such a monster, he is worthy of Miss Murong's following. Hearing Yang Xiao's words that seemed to have special meaning, Xiao Chen couldn't help but frown, and looked at Yang Xiao warily. Yin and Yang are weird, there is a knife hidden in the smile, and there is a little bit of scheming. I didn't expect to meet such a hypocrite when I came to Xian Chamber of Commerce this time. It seems that this prince is a bit troublesome. Your Highness the Fifth Prince, I still have something to discuss with young Master Xiao. If you have nothing to do, please leave the VIP room first. Zi Luo, who was on the side, heard that Yang Xiao's words were getting more and more strange, and immediately frowned and ordered Yang Xiao to be kicked out. Ha ha ha, since Miss Zilla said so, I don't want to continue to disturb you. After Miss Zilla has finished her work, we will find time to have a good gathering. Yang Xiao didn't get angry when he heard this, he just waved his hands at the other people. Let's go. The group of people walked out of the VIP room of Xian Chamber of Commerce under the solemn gazes of Xiao Chen and Zi Luo. Mr. Xiao, it seems that you should be more careful in the future. This Yang Xiao may be trying to trick you secretly. Seeing a few people disappear around the corner, Zi Luo reminded them with a solemn voice. In her impression, Yang Xiao was a bit petty. Today, if Xiao Chen rejects the other party's kindness, he will definitely be secretly resented by the prince. Although Xiao Chen is now the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce, Yang Xiao does not dare to take action openly due to the reputation of Xian Chamber of Commerce. But 9 times out of 10, it will be done secretly. It doesn't matter. I won't offend anyone unless they offend me. If someone offends me, no matter what their identity or background is, they will pay a heavy price. Xiao Chen waved his hands when he heard this and said indifferently. If Yang Xiao secretly held a grudge and wanted to mess with him because he was rejected by him today, then he will definitely let the other party know how miserable it will be if he offends him. How about? Mr. Xiao lives in the Chamber of Commerce these days, so he can be taken care of even if anything happens. Zi Luo frowned when she heard this, but still felt a little worried. You must know that the guardian beside Yang Xiao has reached the 8th level of universal truth. Compared to the protector beside her, he was only a small level weaker. This kind of existence, within Tiandu City, it is almost invincible. If the other party wants to attack Xiao Chen secretly, then Xiao Chen is likely to encounter a life and death crisis. After all, in the past few years, many people who offended Yang Xiao disappeared like this. Chapter 62. Smart people often kill with the help of others. That's fine. After a moment of silence, Xiao Chen agreed. Kayan is in seclusion in the city lord's palace refining the purple pill of resurrection. There is no way she can get out smoothly without 2 or 3 days. Staying in the Xian Chamber of Commerce these days can indeed avoid a lot of trouble. Moreover, after getting the supplies from Zi Luo, a flash of inspiration suddenly flashed in his mind, and he had an idea that he needed to verify. Since Mr. Xiao is staying, why don't Miss Qingshui stay too? I think something was wrong with Yang Xiao just now. Hearing that Xiao Chen did not refuse, Zi Luo looked at Murong Qingshui. As the eldest lady of the Xian Chamber of Commerce, she was used to too much intrigue. If Yang Xiao wanted to cause trouble in secret, he would be smarter and not attack Xiao Chen directly. Instead, he will use the people around Xiao Chen to indirectly teach Xiao Chen a lesson. Therefore, keeping Murong Qingshui here can prevent this kind of thing from happening to a certain extent. Murong Qingshui was also a smart person and did not refuse Zi Luo's proposal. Just ask Zilla to send someone to inform the city lord's palace so that Murong Fu and Murong Bo can know the truth. After a brief conversation, Xiao Chen did not stay here and immediately returned to his private room. The other side, after Yang Xiao left the Xian Chamber of Commerce, his face instantly became extremely gloomy. The cold air that spread over his body made Nalan Shiji shiver and he quickly stayed away from the prince. The person named Xiao is very good. Recalling what happened just now, Yang Xiao's eyes flashed with cold light. An 18-year-old young man. Not only is he more handsome than him, but Martial Dao is even more talented than him. Even at a young age, he can become an honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce, which even surpasses him in terms of status. And when he lowered his face and extended the invitation, the guy refused without even thinking. As the crown prince of Jinan Palace, no young man has ever dared to deny him face like this. The most important is, Zi Luo looked extremely nervous and concerned about this boy named Xiao. If you don't know, I thought this kid was the other party's concubine. As all kinds of thoughts flashed through his mind, Yang Xiao's expression became colder and colder, and there was even a flash of killing intent in his eyes. Your Majesty, do you need me to take action? After feeling the murderous intention in Yang Xiao, the taciturn old man on the side said in a hoarse voice. Need not. Yang Xiao shook his head when he heard this and said in a low voice. Since Zi Luo values this boy very much, she will definitely do everything possible to protect him. What's more, this kid's current identity is still the honorary elder of Xian Chamber of Commerce. If we kill this kid, he will be noticed once we leave traces. The Xian Chamber of Commerce and the Genin Prince's palace are bound to have a stalemate, and it will no longer be possible for me to get Zilla. As he spoke, Yang Xiao's eyes flickered and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. First check the information about this person named Xiao, and then we will wait for someone to arrive. He couldn't do anything to Xiao Chen directly, but he could use other people to attack him. As the saying goes, two dogs fight, play off. Only stupid people would think of killing people by themselves, while smart people would usually kill people with the help of others. His Royal Highness is wise. Nolan Shiji on the side immediately flattered Yang Xiao after hearing what he said. Then he asked a little cautiously, Your Highness, I wonder who the person we are waiting for is the best. With the current identity and status of the person named Xiao, most people would not have the guts to provoke this guy. Only some people from Apex-level forces have the confidence not to be afraid of the Xian Chamber of Commerce. Fire Flame Valley, Duan Haoming. After hearing Nolan Shiji's question, Yang Xiao's mouth showed a hint of seriousness, and he spoke in a low voice. What? Does His Majesty want to? Nolan Shiji raised his head when he heard this and looked at Yang Xiao in shock. Burning Flame Valley. This is another Apex-level force in the Great Qian dynasty, and there are also several celestial human realm powerhouses in the valley. As for Duan Haoming, he has also heard of this name. Of course, it's not that this guy is so awesome. His reputation is enough to resound throughout the Great Qian dynasty. But the other party is a horny and thirsty ghost. Relying on the fact that he is the son of the owner of the Burning Flame Valley, he will do everything possible to get the beauty he likes. Even many female disciples from first-rate forces have been harmed by Duan Haoming. However, these forces did not dare to fight against Fenyan Valley, and they could only settle down after the incident. Unexpectedly, the person Yang Xiao wanted to use this time would be the young master of Fenyan Valley. Could it be that the bait used to lure the other party was Murong Qingshui? What? You have an opinion? Seeing Nolan Shiji making a fuss, Yang Xiao narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at him dangerously. Shiji doesn't dare. Nolan Shiji's expression changed when he heard this, and he quickly shook his head and replied. Murong Qingshui rejected his proposal of marriage and followed Xiao Chen shamelessly. This made him feel great shame. But no matter what, Murong Qingshui was the woman he wanted to get, and now Yang Xiao actually wanted to use her as bait. This made him feel very uncomfortable psychologically. If Duan Haoming is really involved in the future, he won't be able to get Murong Qingshui. Damn it, it seems that we can only wait until Duan Haoming is done having fun first, and then look for a chance to see if he can get in there. Feeling extremely unwilling in his heart, Nolan Shiji thought viciously. No matter if you go first or last. Anyway, as long as he can wash away his shame and vent his long pent-up anger, he will be able to have clear thoughts along the way. Take that, I will keep an eye on the Xian Chamber of Commerce. If there is any trouble, remember to report it to me immediately. When Nolan Shiji was feeling dark and twisted in his heart, Yang Xiao glanced at the building behind him and said to the former in a cold voice. After saying that, Yang Xiao left the Chamber of Commerce without staying. In the wing room, when Yang Xiao and others were planning, Xiao Chen took out the ring given by Zi Luo and gave the recycling order without any hesitation. Ding! The system has recovered all the resources and items in the ring. Congratulations to the host for gaining 514,864 points. Hey, with more than 510,000 points, it's really like reaching the sky in one step. When Xiao Chen heard the system beep, he immediately took a deep breath. The points soared so fast. If he could get a few more batches of resources from the Xian Chamber of Commerce, it would be easy for him to help Kain upgrade her bloodline. Including the more than 80,000 points I have left before, the points should now exceed 600,000. Remembering that he still had a balance left before, Xiao Chen immediately opened the properties panel. Host. Xiao Chen Physique. Innate Dao Body Cultivation. 3rd level of Xuandan. Kung Fu. The technique of creating the universe, divine ability, heavenly demon, shadowless step, great wild true dragon fist, 5 elements, heaven shaking seal, 9 turn golden body cover. Points: 608,364. The points have indeed exceeded the 600,000 mark. The background of this top force is indeed terrifying. Looking at the current points value, Xiao Chen couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Just these 2 transactions, it can provide him with nearly 1 million points, and it has not completely squeezed out all resources. If he could integrate all the waste resources of Xi'an Chamber of Commerce, I'm afraid his points could easily break through the millions mark. We can only take our time. You can't eat a fat man in one bite, so you should digest these points first and turn them into your own strength. At this time, thinking of some things that he had ignored in the past, Xiao Chen couldn't wait to ask the system. Chapter 63. Almost cheating improvement. Xiao Chen's strength improves by leaps and bounds. System: since I can upgrade the martial Dao talent, can I also upgrade my own cultivation, or upgrade my physical strength? As he asked this question, Xiao Chen became a little nervous. Just transmigrate here. What she has been thinking about is collecting resources to redeem points, and then helping Kayan hide her identity and restore her cultivation. He even helped Kayan upgrade his bloodline, giving him hope of breaking through to the Saint Realm. This will allow you to have one more powerful Saint Realm guardian. Under this psychological influence, he ignored some details of himself, and only then did he realize it. If he could upgrade his cultivation and physical body, his strength would undergo an earth-shaking transformation. Ding! The upgrade function can only upgrade the quality of the target object, which means it will undergo a certain level of transformation. There is no way to directly enhance the strength of the upgraded item. When Xiao Chen was looking forward to it, the system's mechanical answer made Xiao Chen feel cold. Sure enough, it doesn't work. He also thought that he could upgrade and strengthen his physical body, so that his strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Directly strengthen his body to heavenly rank supreme grade, and he will instantly have the strength to rival the celestial human realm. Unfortunately, upgrading is not strengthening, so this method doesn't work. Ding! Although the upgrade function cannot directly strengthen the physical body, it can also be used to assist the host in improving its own cultivation. For example, the host can upgrade the quality of the true essence, or the quality of its own soul body. When Xiao Chen felt depressed, the system suddenly reminded him. Yes, upgrading the quality of your true energy and soul body can also improve your strength to a great extent. Xiao Chen's eyes instantly lit up when he heard this. He was so eager for success that he ignored the fundamentals. After upgrading the quality of his true essence, he can completely crush others at the same level. And upgrading the soul quality. Not only can he possess super strong soul perception, but he can also possess a monster understanding that is far beyond ordinary people, and can easily control his own surge and power. These are all great ways to transform his strength. When the thought falls, Xiao Chen raised his hand to condense a ball of true energy, and the 5 colors of light flickered on and off, looking a bit dreamlike. This is the 5 elements true essence condensed after practicing the art of creating the universe. The art of creating the universe has 3 stages, namely the 5 elements chapter, the yin-yang chapter, and the creation chapter. Only when the quality of the true essence changes and my cultivation reaches the corresponding level, can I practice other subsequent chapters. Looking at the ball of 5 elements true yuan in front of him, Xiao Chen couldn't help but his eyes flickered. He has been practicing for less than 10 days. Although with the help of external forces, his cultivation has now reached the 3rd level of Xuanden. But because the cultivation level improved too quickly, there was no certain accumulation. The quality of his 5 elements true essence is now only a low-grade profound rank. Even if he practices emperor-level skills, he does not have a lot of time to condense his true energy, and the quality of his true energy is not much better than others. If the quality of my true energy can be improved to heavenly rank supreme grade, I'm afraid I can crush anyone in the same realm. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen felt excited and immediately ordered the system. System, upgrade the quality of my true essence to heavenly rank supreme grade. Ding! The system has deducted 38,000 points and is upgrading the quality of the host's true essence. As the system prompt tone fell, a burst of white light shone. The 5 elements of essence in Xiao Chen's body also violently rioted at this moment. The 5 elements of light seemed to contain the universe, illuminating the entire wing like a dream. The true essence in Xiao Chen's body suddenly shrank sharply, and the true essence continued to condense and transform. In just a short moment, the quality transformed from profound rank to heavenly rank supreme grade. This function of the system is really abnormal. Feeling that the true energy in his body had shrunk by nearly half, Xiao Chen's face showed a look of shock. According to his normal cultivation, if the 5 elements true yuan were to be promoted to heavenly rank supreme grade, it would not be possible within a few years. But now that he can use the system function, he only needs to spend more than 30,000 points to enjoy it in advance. Sure enough, it's that simple to open up a cultivating life and increase your strength. Although my true essence has shrunk by nearly half, my strength has doubled. Feeling the 5 elements true essence that was far more powerful than before, Xiao Chen's eyes showed a bright light. If his true essence quality before was a wooden rod, now it has transcended the stone rod and transformed directly into an iron rod. The same ray of true energy. The combat effectiveness that can be exerted is completely different from before. Next, first improve the quality of your soul, and then calm down and restore your cultivation. Feeling a feeling of deficit in his dantian, Xiao Chen did not choose to recover immediately, but issued another upgrade command to the system. System, upgrade the quality of my soul body to heavenly rank supreme grade. Ding! The system has deducted 29,000 points and is upgrading the quality of the host's soul body. Perhaps it's because of the transmigrate, the soul of the original owner of integrated union. The quality of his soul body is a little better than that of ordinary people. Therefore, upgrading to heavenly rank supreme grade requires fewer points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for accidentally triggering a 10,000-fold blessing explosion rate. The quality of the soul body has been upgraded to supreme grade. The soul body has successfully transformed into a Bodhi enlightenment soul. Boom! As the system prompt tone suddenly fell, Xiao Chen felt a roar in his mind, and his whole body was like an astral projection of his soul. He was actually observing the changes in this world from a very strange perspective. And his sea of consciousness was expanding crazily at this time, and his soul power was soaring like crazy. Even as Xiao Chen entered the state of enlightenment, the surrounding spiritual energy gathered crazily. The 5 elements true essence in his body, which had shrunk in half due to the quality transformation, also condensed and soared crazily at this moment. Cultivation is as simple as drinking water. The 4th level of Xuandan. The 5th level of Xuandan, in less than half a day, Xiao Chen's cultivation level has broken through from the 3rd level of Zondan to the 6th level of Zondan, and he has no intention of stopping. Although the speed of breakthrough has gradually slowed down, this breakthrough is still ongoing. Time comes the next day. When Xiao Chen fell into an epiphany and breakthrough, Tianducheng gradually became boiling. A lot of news was released with the auction of Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. It is claimed that the items in this auction include not only various rare treasures, but also rare supreme-grade elixirs. Among them were the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill and the Resurrection Purple Pill, which not only shocked the entire Guangzhou but also other regions. The 5 major apex-level forces of Great Qian Dynasty all sent people here in unison. Inside Tiandu City, strong men from big forces could be seen everywhere, and several conflicts even broke out, which gave Murong Fu a headache. Fortunately, after refining the Soul Resurrection Purple Pill, Murong Bo finally returned to the 2nd level of universal truth. After leaving customs, with that powerful cultivation level, he can still suppress some young people. And as Murong Bo came out of seclusion, he also showed his cultivation level. Some practitioners in Tiandu City who knew Murong Bo felt unprecedented shock in the past 2 days. Out of curiosity, one by one began to inquire about Murong Bo. After all, Murong Bo was once a strong man in the universal truth realm, but he became a cripple due to an accident. This is something almost everyone knows in Tiandu City. But now the opponent has not only recovered from his injuries, but his cultivation has also returned to the 2nd level of universal truth. This inevitably makes people curious. So, with the help of some witnesses and interested people that day, things about Xiao Chen and the Murong family also began to spread in Tiandu City. Chapter 64. The topic has been opened, it's time to prepare for the trap. Zui Shenju. The famous tea house in Tiandu City has a variety of new and old teas. The old tea is warm and fragrant, with a silky and mellow taste. Although the sales are not comparable to some new teas. But the charm that takes years to brew is still liked by many people. Although the first taste of new tea will be a bit green and astringent. But with its good presentation and endless aftertaste, many people linger over it. At the same time, in the Tianjihao wing of Zui Shenju. Ha ha ha, so cool, he held two charming women on his left and right, and watched one washing chopsticks. Feeling the unique Gongfu tea of Zui Shenju, Duan Haoming shuddered and said with a wild smile. Yang Xiao, this feels really good, do you really don't want to vent your anger? After saying that, Duan Haoming tasted the tea greedily like an addict again. It's just some vulgar food, you really are not picky about food. Yang Xiao glanced at the unsightly scene in front of him, and spoke with a slight disdain, and there was even a flash of disgust in his eyes. The women in these tea houses, although there are many very good-looking ones, they are all rotten losers. As the eldest son of Genin Palace, he is not so hungry. Ha ha ha, a jade arm can be used as a pillow for thousands of people, and a touch of red lips can be tasted by thousands of people. Sometimes just going with the flow can make you laugh at life. Duan Haoming didn't care at all when he heard this. After laughing loudly, he took another big mouthful like a wild boar eating cabbage. Yang Xiao's head was covered with black lines. Nalan Shiji on the side looked suddenly enlightened. There are even some who are ready to move and seem to want to go up and have a chat. Savor the various aspects of life, walk the twists and turns that others have walked, and experience the warmth that others have had. It seems that there is really a different life experience. It is rumored that Fengyun Valley practices the most yang and strong fire attribute skills. As the level of cultivation increases, the yang energy in the body becomes more restless and fire attribute toxins are formed. If you don't have sex with women regularly, the fire poison in your body will burn your heart and make the practitioner feel unbearable pain. In the past, I thought it was just a rumor, but now that Brother Duan is like this, it really is true. Looking at Duan Haoming's ugly appearance, Yang Xiao suddenly smiled lightly. After saying these words, Duan Haoming immediately moved his hands, raised his head and stared at Yang Xiao unkindly. What do you mean? The core skills of Burning Flame Valley are the same as those of 10,000 Flowers Valley, which are all derived from an incomplete saint rank skill. Although through the efforts of several generations, the technique has been improved a lot. But there are still some sequelae. These are not secrets in the Great Qian dynasty, but saying them in front of him is a bit provocative. Brother Duan, don't get me wrong. Seeing Duan Haoming's unkind look, Yang Xiao immediately smiled and explained. My prince is just thinking that since the Burning Flame Valley technique has sequelae, it will leave fire poison in the cultivator's body. And it takes the help of a woman's yin qi to suppress this special fire poison. Brother Duan, why don't you find a woman with body of pure yin? The nourishing effect is much stronger than these women. After saying this, Yang Xiao took a sip of tea, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. The topic has been opened and it's time to prepare for the trap. HMPH. Do you think the woman with body of pure yin is just a cabbage that can be picked up on the roadside? Except for one woman, how many women with this special physique can you see elsewhere? Hearing Yang Xiao's stupid question, Duan Haoming couldn't help but snorted. For Burning Flame Valley, women with body of pure yin really make them covetous. But there are too few such women. As far as they know, Wanhua only has a few. As for other places, trying to find a woman with body of pure yin among millions of people is no different from finding a heavenly ranked supreme grade spirit medicine among hundreds of thousands of people. That's why Fengyang covets women from Wanhuaman very much, but Wanhuaman is also very special because of its skills. After practicing, not only will your hair become gray, but the relationship between men and women will also become cold. This also leads to the 10,000 Flowers Gate. Regardless of whether it is the sect leader, the elders, or the many female disciples, they basically do not have companions. It is almost more difficult for them in Fengyun Valley to obtain the women of Wanhuaman than to break through to the celestial human realm. What you said? Could it be that you want to encourage this young master to rob the woman from Wanhuaman? During the turning of thoughts, Duan Haoming seemed to have thought of something, staring at the other party with rather unkind eyes. Once upon a time, a high-ranking figure in the Burning Flame Valley had a bad idea and captured a body of pure yin from the Wanhua sect as a furnace tonic. It didn't take long for things to come to light. This led to a tragic battle between Burning Flame Valley and Wanhuaman, which shocked the entire Great Qian dynasty. Could it be that His Highness the Crown Prince wants to use him to make the two top forces fight again so that the Genin Palace can benefit from it? Brother Duan misunderstood. We have known each other for such a long time. It is not an exaggeration to say that we are like brothers. How could I encourage you to do such a thing? It's just that I happened to meet a body of pure yin yesterday when I was at Xian Chamber of Commerce. Yang Xiao smiled lightly and waved his hand when he heard this, and replied with a spring breeze in his voice. Have you met those girls from Wanhuaman? Yang Xiao had just finished speaking, and Duan Haoming said without interest. If it was a group of girls from Wanhuaman, it would be normal for body of pure yin to appear. No, she is the daughter of the Lord of Tiandu City, not the group of white-haired girls from Wanhuaman. Yang Xiao shook his head when he heard this, and said in a meaningful voice. Tiandu City Lord's mansion? Hearing Yang Xiao's words, Duan Haoming's eyes suddenly lit up and he stared at Yang Xiao fiercely. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Are you really not a girl from Wanhuaman? Absolutely true. Seeing that Duan Haoming was about to take the bait, Yang Xiao raised the corners of his mouth. Actually, the daughter of the city lord's palace was originally this boy's fiancée, but she encountered some changes along the way. With that said, Yang Xiao roughly told Duan Haoming about Murong Qingshui. You mean, after Murong Qingshui was cured, in order to please the young master who treated her, she not only forcibly broke off the engagement with this boy, but also shamelessly tried to turn against him. Hearing Yang Xiao say these things, Duan Haoming frowned slightly and glanced at Nalan Shiji. So you want me, young master, to help this kid vent his anger? As the eldest son of Genin Palace, if you want to help your younger brother vent his anger, will you need to trouble him? Is there any ulterior purpose? Brother Duan, it's not that you don't know. My prince is pursuing Miss Ziluo, and the young master who cured Murong Qingshui seems to have an unusual relationship with the Xian Chamber of Commerce. If I weren't worried about upsetting Ziluo, why would I bother Brother Duan to take action? After Yang Xiao finished speaking, he took a sip of tea. Seeing that Duan Haoming still had doubts, he could only sigh and continue. But the daughter of the city lord's palace is really the supreme grade. If this prince hadn't wanted to pursue Ziluo, I would have wanted to tame her and make her my concubine. Ha ha ha, I really thought that this young master couldn't see your thoughts. Do you want to use this young master as a gunman so that you can teach that so-called young master a lesson? Hearing Yang Xiao say this, Duan Haoming seemed to have figured something out. He immediately exposed Yang Xiao with a sneer, causing the other party's expression to stiffen slightly. Chapter 65. Old man, the dandy young master you are talking about. Are you talking about this young master? Ha ha ha, Brother Duan really has a sharp eye and can actually see this. After his eyes flickered slightly, Yang Xiao did not object at this time. Instead, he smiled somewhat self-deprecatingly. When I saw that boy today, he has a close relationship with Miss Zilla. I couldn't hold my breath in my heart. But my prince cares about Miss Ziluo, so I can't offend Miss Ziluo. I can't find an opportunity to teach this kid a lesson. So when I mentioned this to Brother Duan today, I did have some selfish motives in it. Seeing that Duan Haoming was not easy to fool, Yang Xiao could only turn to his heart. As he spoke, a look of decadence appeared on his face, and he seemed a little unwilling. My prince is sincere towards Miss Zilla, but she only cares about a boy from the mountains. This makes me feel very unwilling. After speaking, Yang Xiao took a sip of tea, as if he wanted to use tea instead of wine to release the accumulated anger in his heart. That boy. Is he really from the mountains? Duan Haoming narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this, and asked with some meaningful words. Although he is lustful and somewhat arrogant, but he is not a brainless second-generation ancestor. If he were just a mountain savage, how could he be so fearful as the heir apparent of Genin Palace that he would not dare to take action? Instead, he tried his best to drag him, the young master of Burning Flame Valley, into the water. This undoubtedly reflects a message that Yang Xiao is a little afraid of that boy. Well, before I clean up Brother Duan's fate, I asked someone to investigate. There is no information about this person among the forces that can be ranked in the Great Qian dynasty. I only know that there is a woman in red accompanying this boy, who is a strong man from the universal truth realm. I think he must be a mountain boy who was lucky and got some kind of inheritance. Yang Xiao nodded when he heard this, without any concealment. After all, there are top forces behind them, and even their father is a celestial human realm powerhouse. A strong man of universal truth realm. In the eyes of people like them, there is no threat at all. If that's the case, this young master can help you test the depth of this boy. Of course, you have to perform well afterwards. After a moment of silence, Duan Haoming said to Yang Xiao with twinkling eyes, look between his eyebrows. As long as Brother Duan can help me vent my anger, I will definitely satisfy you in the future. Yang Xiao smiled lightly and replied. But when his eyes were lowered, a cold light flashed deep in his eyes. Ha ha ha, it's better to choose the right day than to hit the sun now. The young master, will go and see this little girl with the body of pure yin. After hearing Yang Xiao's answer, Duan Haoming laughed immediately, then pushed the woman beside him, stood up and walked out of the room. Now we know that there is a stunning beauty from body of pure yin, and she is not the girls from Wanwaman. If he doesn't help the other party bloom the buds, he will not be worthy of his title of Run Tu Jushi. Yang Xiao and others' eyes flickered, and then they all walked out of Zui Shenju. No matter what. Even though this process was a bit frustrating, Duan Haoming saw through his thoughts. But as long as this kid goes to find Murong Qingshui, he will conflict with Xiao Chen no matter what. His goal has been achieved. Xian Chamber of Commerce Hall. Is Mr. Xiao still out of seclusion? Cloud Mountain saw Murong Qingshui coming out for air, and immediately walked over and asked with a smile. The auction will be held tomorrow, but Xiao Chen is in retreat at this time. It made him feel a little surprised. No, the young master should be in seclusion to break through the cultivation level. He is almost out of seclusion. Murong Qingshui shook her head when she heard this. Xiao Chen is very interested in this auction, and he will definitely not miss the auction because of the retreat, unless something unexpected happens to the other party during the retreat. Since Mr. Xiao is sensible, I won't disturb him. Cloud Mountain stroked his beard when he heard this, and then said in a serious voice as if he thought of something. Miss Qingshui, there have been a lot of dandy brothers coming to Tiandu City in the past 2 days. If you have nothing to do, it's better to show less face. Murong Qingshui was extremely beautiful and even had a certain pure yin physique. For some strong people, this is undoubtedly the supreme grade dual cultivation cauldron. The tricky thing is, although Murong Qingshui has a certain financial background, it is nothing to the apex level forces. So if someone from the apex level force or some young masters were to target him, Murong Qingshui would be in a lot of trouble. Old man, the dandy boy you are talking about. Are you talking about this young master? Just as Cloud Mountain finished speaking, a burst of wild laughter suddenly came from behind, causing Cloud Mountain to frown. How dare you call him an old man in the hall of Xian Chamber of Commerce? This guy is no ordinary madman. Hiss, this guy is. When his face turned ugly, Cloud Mountain also turned around and looked at the person. However, after seeing the other party's appearance and the flame suit, Cloud Mountain's expression instantly changed. If he read correctly, this should be the youngest son of Duan Yantian, the master of Fenyan Valley. Duan Haoming. A person who is as lustful as life and behaves arrogantly and domineeringly. Relying on the fact that he is the son of the owner of Burning Flame Valley, he has raped young girls in many places. Unexpectedly, Fenyan Valley would send this guy here this time. Now Murong Qingshui was in trouble. Ha ha ha, it turns out to be Mr. Duan from Burning Flame Valley. I'm sorry that I'm so far away. I hope you can forgive me. After his eyes flickered, Cloud Mountain immediately laughed. Then he used his true energy to transmit his voice and said to Murong Qingshui. Don't look at him, get in quickly. Now, he could only divert the other party's attention, hoping to make Murong Qingshui leave first. When Murong Qingshui heard the words, she understood immediately, turned around and walked towards the Chamber of Commerce. Wait a minute, does this young master let you go? Seeing Murong Qingshui turn around and leave, Duan Haoming's eyes showed a hint of teasing. The figure swayed slightly and turned into an afterimage, immediately appearing in front of Murong Qingshui. His talent is only Earth-rank supreme grade, which is not that amazing among the younger generation of apex-level forces. But under the training of Fenyan Valley, still at the age of 25, He successfully broke through to the 5th level of Schwanden. At this distance, it is very easy to stop someone. This young master, we are strangers to each other, please get out of the way. Looking at Duan Haoming appearing in front of him, Murong Qingshui forced himself to calm down and spoke in a cold voice. Ha ha ha, we really didn't know each other before, but don't we know each other from now on? Duan Haoming couldn't help laughing wildly when he heard this and stared at Murong Qingshui with burning eyes. It is indeed a body of pure yin, and they seemed to be much more advanced than the women he had seen at Wanwaman. Just smelling the pure yin aura emanating from Murong Qingshui's body could make the energy and blood all over his body become as manic as a wild beast. This woman is definitely a supreme grade. If you can get the opponent's primordial yin, not only can the fire poison in his body be purified, but his cultivation level can also improve by leaps and bounds. Chapter 66. This shameless scum actually threatened her like this? Master, please respect yourself. Seeing Duan Haoming staring at her like a hungry wolf, Murong Qingshui's expression became even colder, and after a reminder, she wanted to leave again. Mr. Xiao is still in seclusion now. She can't cause trouble here and must get out as soon as possible. Miss Murong, after all, I am also the young master of Burning Flame Valley. Doesn't it seem bad that you are so disrespectful? Seeing that Murong Qingshui wanted to leave again, Duan Haoming sneered in a serious voice. Young master of Burning Flame Valley? Hearing Duan Haoming reveal his identity and background, Murong Qingshui's body suddenly stiffened, and his face turned pale. Burning Flame Valley. She often heard her grandfather and father mention that this was one of the 5 apex-level forces in the Great Qian dynasty, and its power base was enough to easily destroy the entire Tiandu city. And because they have practiced some kind of incomplete fire attribute holy art, every strong man in Burning Flame Valley is a lustful person. He has an indescribable possessiveness towards the woman who possesses extreme yin physique. She didn't expect that the man who had thoughts about her would be one of the young masters of Fenyan Valley. What should I do now? After knowing Duan Haoming's identity, Murong Qingshui's heart sank to the bottom. She has the body of Taiyin Xuanxiao, and she has a fatal attraction to the people of Burning Flame Valley. No wonder the way this guy looked at her was so hot that it was hard to look directly at her. Ha ha ha, Mr. Duan, I'm really sorry. Miss Murong was invited by Our Lady. She said she has something important to discuss. Our Lady should be waiting impatiently now. If you have anything to do with Miss Murong, let's talk about it after she comes out. Just when Murong Qingshui couldn't help clenching her fists and thinking about how to escape, Cloud Mountain's voice came from behind again. This made her eyes light up instantly, and she immediately understood what Cloud Mountain meant. Duan Haoming's identity is very different. The only person who can protect her now is the eldest lady Ziluo. When the thought falls, Murong Qingshui said nothing and walked towards the depths of the Chamber of Commerce again. Old guy, you have come to interfere with my young master's actions once or twice. Do you really think that because you are from the Xian Chamber of Commerce, my young master will take action? Seeing Murong Qingshui trying to bypass him and entering the Chamber of Commerce, Duan Haoming snorted with a gloomy expression. Immediately afterwards, an old man in red appeared strangely around him, causing Cloud Mountain's pupils to shrink violently at this moment. Universal Truth Realm Strong Man. If you say any more nonsense, I will let him destroy you. As Duan Haoming finished speaking, the old man in red raised his eyes slightly, and his terrifying energy was locked on Cloud Mountain. It seems that as long as Cloud Mountain says another word, he will directly take action to destroy him. After giving Cloud Mountain a stern warning, Duan Haoming appeared in front of Murong Qingshui again, looking at him with a wicked smile on his lips. The impeccable appearance, the curvy figure, and this virgin fragrance are really intoxicating. After finishing his filthy words, Duan Haoming lowered his voice and continued. Miss Murong, there has been some unrest in Tiandu City recently. You don't want anything to happen to your grandfather and father, right? You? Hearing Duan Haoming's words, Murong Qingshui suddenly raised her head and couldn't help clenching her fists tightly. This shameless scum actually threatened her like this? Hey, don't worry. As long as you stay with me and serve me well from now on, I won't do anything to your family. Seeing Murong Qingshui's expression change into a gloomy one, Duan Haoming's expression also became more and more lustful. As he spoke, he even approached Murong Qingshui step by step. raising his hand to touch Murong Qingshe's chin. "You're dreaming." Seeing that Duan Haoming's finger was about to touch her, Murong Qingshui burst into cultivation at this moment. He stomped the floor directly and shot towards the depths of the Chamber of Commerce. "Still want to run?" Seeing that Murong Qingshui did not accept the threat, Duan Haoming's eyes flashed with a cold light. His cultivation level also exploded at this moment, and his big hand grabbed Murong Qingshui directly. The more Murong Qingshui resisted, the more excited he felt. When he was captured, he wanted to take a good look. How loyal can this wealthy young lady be? A sudden scene. The expressions of many people in the Chamber of Commerce hall changed, but no one dared to stand up and stop him at this time. Although Cloud Mountain wanted to go up and help, but he was locked tightly by a strong man from the Universal Truth Realm, and even if he was worried, he couldn't help at this time. At the age of 18, he has reached the second level of spiritual aperture. It is indeed a rare supreme-grade cauldron. Feeling the aura of cultivation surging from Murong Qingshe's body, Duan Haoming's words echoed in the hall with excitement. "From now on, you are my young master's man." But just when Duan Haoming's words were still echoing in the hall, his right hand was about to grab Murong Qingshe's back. Suddenly there were flower petals passing by in the hall, and a cold voice echoed. "Robbing a common girl in broad daylight is truly a beast of the burning flame valley." Hiss! The next moment, there was a sharp sound breaking through the air. Those petals were like magical weapons, shooting towards Duan Haoming in an instant. "Young master, be careful." This sudden change caused the old man's complexion to change. The figure appeared next to Duan Haoming like a ghost, condensing into a fire attribute barrier with his wave of hands, and shook together with the petals. The terrible impact swept across like a storm, and the entire Chamber of Commerce shook violently. Duan Haoming staggered and almost pounced on a dog. The other cultivators in the hall were even more frightened and fled in panic. How dare you take action against this young master?" After barely stabilizing his body, Duan Haoming suddenly raised his head and roared with rage. Just a little bit. He could catch Murong Qingshui and tear her clothes to pieces on the spot. While listening to the other party's screams, he took this woman back to process it, but he didn't expect anyone to dare to take action against him. "It's your aunt," in a cold voice. Several figures with snow-white hair slowly appeared in the hall. A terrible chill spread instantly, causing Duan Haoming's pupils to shrink. "Girls from Wanwaman." Looking at a few familiar faces walking in, Duan Haoming's expression became very gloomy. "The leader is a white-haired woman. Although I don't know her name, she should be the elder of Wanhua sect. As for the other two women, he was no stranger to them. They are all true disciples of Wanhua sect. One named Nangong Jane, Martial Dao's talent has reached the heavenly rank. He has cultivated to the 8th level of Xuandan at the age of only 23. Regardless of his talent and cultivation, he can suppress his existence. Image of Nangong Jane. The other one is named Li Wanqing, although he is only 19 years old. However, his talent has reached the astonishing heavenly rank supreme grade, and he has cultivated to the 7th level of spiritual aperture at a young age. He is the most devilishly gifted being among the younger generation of Wanhua sect. These two people are both disciples of the master of Wanhua sect. They did not expect to meet each other in Tiandu City this time. They really are enemies on a narrow road. This woman has nothing to do with your Wanhua sect. Are you trying to start a war by interfering? Duan Haoming glanced at the three people coldly, and shouted in a low voice with a gloomy expression. "I thought that the one who came to the rescue would be the young master behind Murong Qingshui, but I didn't expect that a Wanwaman suddenly came out." This made him feel very troubled. Chapter 67. It doesn't matter, I was just showing off just now. Who said she has nothing to do with our Wanhua sect? When Duan Haoming finished speaking, Nangong Jing walked straight to the middle of the hall and stared at Duan Haoming indifferently. Then he pointed at Murong Qingshui and said in a cold voice, "She is my master's newly accepted disciple. If you attack her so unscrupulously, do you think our Wanhua sect is easy to bully?" After saying that, Nangong Jing's eyes flashed with a cold light, as if she couldn't help but take action the next moment. Murong Qingshui was confused when she heard this. When did she become a disciple of Wanhua sect? F*K your mother F*Ker. Duan Haoming became furious when he heard this, and uttered a curse word without thinking. This bitch was so indifferent 2 days ago. She stayed in the city lord's palace and never left the house. In just 2 days, she was accepted as a disciple by your master? Why don't you tell me, your master cured her red hair? As far as he knows, the leader of the Wanhua sect has been in seclusion for the past 2 years. It is suspected that his practice has suffered some backlash. If Murong Qingshui was really accepted as a disciple by the master of the Wanhua sect, would he be allowed to stay alone in the Xian Chamber of Commerce? If you don't accept it, let's have a fight. Hearing Duan Haoming's vulgar words, Nangong Jing frowned slightly and shouted in a cold voice. Next moment, without any unnecessary nonsense, Nangong Jing directly burst into cultivation and headed towards Duan Haoming in an instant. Damn crazy woman, your grandma's. Seeing Nangong Jing's explosive shot coming, Duan Haoming's expression changed and he retreated crazily as his cultivation level exploded. At the same time, he yelled at the old man in red. Stop her! In order to reach the 8th level of Zon Dan, Nangong Jingsho was 3 levels higher than him. If he fights with this woman, he can only be completely tortured. Almost as soon as Duan Haoming's words came out, the figure of the old man in red had become blurry, and he rushed towards Nangong Jing like a ghost. But also in this moment, the elder of Wanhua sect, who had been silent all this time, suddenly had flower petals flying out from around him. The whole person was like a ghost among the flowers, disappearing in a flash. Boom! The next moment, as several figures collided with each other, a dull explosion sounded like thunder. Duan Haoming was slapped far away by Nangong Jing, and almost flew out of the Xian Chamber of Commerce hall like garbage. Han Xin Yue, do you really want to start a war? Seeing Duan Haoming being slapped away by Nangong Jing, the old man in red stared at the elders of Wanhuaman with a serious look. Let's compete among the juniors. Do you need to rise to the sect? After hearing the words of the old man in red, Han Xin Yue said calmly. Ever since Wanhua sect and Fenyan Valley broke up with each other 30 years ago, conflicts between the two sects have often broken out. Fights between juniors are common, but as long as there are no very serious consequences, the opponent's cultivation will be ruined, or the opponent will be blown away. The two major sects will not completely break up again. Guys, although we are all guests, it seems against the rules for you to fight like this, right? Just when the old man in red heard this, his face became gloomy and his aura became more and more violent. As a cold voice came over, Zi Luo and her protector also appeared in the hall. Seeing that the floor of the hall was shattered, the surrounding area also looked a bit messy. Zi Luo glanced at Nangong Jing, Duan Haoming and others, and continued with a somewhat cold voice. No matter which one of you strikes first, all damage to the Chamber of Commerce Hall must be compensated according to the price today. Besides, if anyone dares to cause trouble on the Xian Chamber of Commerce's territory again, the Xian Chamber of Commerce will blacklist this person permanently. Hearing Zi Luo's cold words, Nangong Jing and others restrained their breath, and continued to attack without hesitation. You stinky bitch, I will definitely repay you for today's debt in the future. Duan Haoming stabilized the surging energy and blood in his body, shouted coldly to Nangong Jing, and then casually threw a space ring to Cloud Mountain. Let's go. Although the Xian Chamber of Commerce and Fenyan Valley are not afraid of them, they still cannot offend them. After all, the connections the Xian Chamber of Commerce has and the ability to collect resources are beyond their reach in Fenyan Valley. In this situation, it is no longer possible to take Murong Qingshui away by force. We can only wait until the auction is over to see if we can find an opportunity. Miss Zi Luo, I had no choice but to cause trouble for you just now. Seeing Duan Haoming leaving with a frustrated expression, Nangong Jing turned around and said to Zi Luo. It doesn't matter, I was just showing off just now. Miss Murong is a friend of an elder of my Xian Chamber of Commerce. If you hadn't taken action in time just now, I'm afraid we would have encountered a lot of trouble. Zi Luo waved her hands after hearing this. What happened just now? Cloud Mountain just sent her a message. She didn't expect that some things she arranged for the auction in the backstage of the Chamber of Commerce would have such a change in the Chamber of Commerce Hall. It seems that she was a little careless for a while. Fortunately, nothing happened to Murong Qingshui, otherwise it would be difficult to explain to Xiao Chen. Murong Qingshui would like to thank you all for your generous help. After Zi Luo finished speaking, Murong Qingshui saluted Nangong Jing and others. If these people hadn't taken action today, even if Zi Luo could come to stop her later, she would have been molested by Duan Haoming. Therefore, Nangong Jing and others took action in time to preserve her innocence. So your name is Murong Qingxue, which is quite a nice name. Li Wanqing looked at Murong Qingxue with some curiosity, looking at the other person's plump and proud features like hers. A look of surprise immediately appeared on his face. What an exquisite beauty! Not only does he have a special pure yin physique like her, but his appearance and figure are not inferior to hers at all. If she can really be accepted as a junior sister, then her ranking will not be the smallest. Image of Li Wanqing. My name is Nangong Jing. This is my junior sister Li Wanqing, and this is Han Xin Yue, the elder of Wanhua sect. After Li Wanqing spoke, Nangong Jing also gave a brief introduction and stared at Murong Qingxue with burning eyes. Miss Murong, you have some kind of special pure yin constitution. Are you willing to join my Wanhua sect? Although my master has not yet left seclusion, I can represent my master by accepting you as a registered disciple. When my master comes out of seclusion in the future, I will formally worship her as my master. After saying these words, Murong Qingxue was slightly startled, and the surroundings fell into deathly silence. Zi Luo looked at several people with strange eyes. During Xiao Chen's retreat in the past 2 days, she also saw how extraordinary Murong Qingxue was and also extended an invitation to him. However, she was rejected by Murong Qingxue, which made her feel a little regretful. Unexpectedly, Wanhuaman also focused on this body of pure yin. Qingxue appreciates your kindness. It's just that Qingxue has vowed to follow Mr. Xiao throughout her life, so she can only disappoint a few people. Murong Qingxue shook her head when she heard this and refused without any hesitation. In this life, she only belongs to Xiao Chen, and she will not leave unless the other party sternly expels her. What? After hearing Murong Qingxue's answer. Whether it was Nangong Jing or Li Wanqing, they couldn't help but widen their eyes with a look of shock on their faces. Wanhuaman, however, one of the apex-level forces within the Great Qian dynasty, is still a sect composed entirely of women. With a prominent reputation in the Great Qian dynasty, it is the sacred land that countless women dream of cultivating. Unexpectedly, Murong Qingxue refused without even thinking, and on the premise of becoming the disciple of the sect master. Chapter 68. Are you sure? Mr. Xiao inside is really only 18 years old? Miss Murong, are you sure you won't think about it again? After feeling very puzzled in her heart, Nangong Jing asked again. I've made up my mind and I'm really sorry. Murong Qingxue shook her head when she heard this, without any wavering on her face. This life. It would definitely be her greatest honor in this life if she could always be by Xiao Chen's side. Who are you talking about, Mr. Xiao? After hearing Murong Qingxue's unwavering answer, Li Wanqing asked curiously. This was a beautiful woman who was no weaker than her. What kind of man could she be that could make her fascinated? Master Xiao is a handsome and remarkable being. Murong Qingxue's face was filled with admiration and happiness when she heard this. Even her eyes became blurry as she spoke, like an infatuated girl who fell in love. Ahem, Miss Murong, let's go inside and talk. Zi Luo on the side saw Murong Qingxue like this and saw many people talking in the hall, so she immediately interrupted her fugue with a dry cough. After saying that, Zi Luo walked into the Chamber of Commerce first, and Murong Qingxue also came to her senses. Seeing that Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing both looked puzzled, she couldn't help but blush, and immediately followed Zi Luo's footsteps. The other side. Duan Haoming walked out of the Chamber of Commerce with a gloomy face and looked inside the Chamber of Commerce with a stern look. Wanhuaman, when my father comes back from the endless desert, I want you little bitches to surrender under the crotch of burning Flame Valley. Duan Haoming couldn't help but reveal a ferocious look on his face when he thought of his father, Duan Yantian, taking 2 of the celestial human realm powerhouses from the burning Flame Valley to the endless desert to conquer a cluster of 1,000-year earth core fire. If his father can successfully capture strange fire and successfully refine it, he may become the strongest person in the celestial human realm. By then, besides the old immortal who has reached Saint Realm, who else will be his father's opponent? And Wanhuaman, it will become their furnace cauldron in the burning Flame Valley. Brother Duan, is everything going well? When Duan Haoming's expression changed in gloom and uncertainty, Yang Xiao and his party also came over at this moment. It's so smooth. Hearing Yang Xiao's words full of hypocrisy, Duan Haoming felt like he had been stepped on. He shouted angrily with a cold voice. The girls from Wanwaman are here early and late, but they have arrived at the Chamber of Commerce at this juncture. You must have all seen it just now, why didn't you help me stop them? If the girls from Wanwaman hadn't appeared, he might have been able to kidnap Murong Qingshui. When the time comes, it is a foregone conclusion that the flower will bloom with 2 petals. What can the Wanwaman do to him? I didn't expect the people from Wanhua sect to appear. This can only be said to be a variable. When Duan Haoming reprimanded him angrily, Yang Xiao was not angry, but said in a solemn tone. Murong Qingshui was able to escape for a while, but not forever. Brother Duan has no chance. As long as we can capture her family, fuck you. Before Yang Xiao finished speaking, he was interrupted by Duan Haoming. Do you really think that I am an idiot? Now that bitch has been discovered by the people from the Wanhua sect. She will definitely be taken under the Wanhua sect. Maybe she will be the disciple of that old bitch Luo Lingshuang. You ask me to kidnap her family now? Do you want Fenyan Valley to start a war with Wanhua clan, right? Besides, the Murong family now has a strong man from the Universal Truth realm. How can such a being be kidnapped so easily? After coldly reprimanding Yang Xiao and spraying him bloody, Duan Haoming left directly with the old man in red. Yang Xiao was left stunned on the spot, his face instantly turning livid. What did you say? You had a physical problem before, which caused you to have red hair and an unknown dye. Was it Mr. Xiao who cured you and allowed you to achieve your current level of cultivation? Listening to Murong Qingshui talking about what happened between her and Xiao Chen, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing couldn't help but widen their eyes. I didn't expect Murong Qingshui to have such a past. The two of them, one has the Xuanian ice spirit body, the other has the extreme yin heaven spiritual vein, both have very powerful pure yin physiques. But they are not like Murong Qingshui, who will suffer from the backlash of the original yin qi and their fate is unknown. And when the physique is activated, the cultivation level will be improved. But it is far less exaggerated than Murong Qingshui, who directly upgraded from the body-tempering realm to the spiritual aperture realm. The opponent's physique should be more advanced than theirs. Well, so Qingshui swears. As long as the young master doesn't dislike him, I will definitely follow him. Murong Qingshui nodded when she heard this, and replied firmly. It seems that Mr. Xiao is really something extraordinary. Seeing Murong Qingshui's appearance as an infatuated girl, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing also became interested in Xiao Chen. Where is Mr. Xiao now? Can we see him? After a moment of silence, Nangong Jing asked. Of course, she didn't have any bad thoughts about Xiao Chen, but she wanted to get through Xiao Chen, the young master. Successfully persuaded Murong Qingshui to join the Wanhua Gate. After all, as soon as Murong Qingshui activated his physique, his cultivation reached the second level of spiritual aperture. If you can become a disciple of Wanhua sect and practice diligently in the future, you will definitely achieve celestial human realm. The Wanhua Gate can also become more powerful. Master Xiao is in seclusion. You will naturally see him when he comes out of seclusion. Before Murong Qingshui could reply, Zi Luo suddenly spoke at this moment. Well, this is Mr. Xiao's wing. The group of people happened to pass by the VIP room area. Zi Luo pointed to one of the rooms and said. Boom! Also at this time. Almost as soon as Zi Luo finished speaking and Nangong Jing and others looked over, a roar suddenly broke out in the wing. A terrifying cultivation aura erupted into the sky and the wing. The pupils of Zi Luo, Nangong Jing and others shrank sharply, with disbelief on their faces at this moment. This is the aura of the 9th level of Xuandan. How can this be? According to Murong Qingshui's story, Xiao Chen obviously only has the cultivation level of the 7th level of spiritual aperture. How can he now burst out with the aura of the 9th level of Xuandan? Could it be that Xiao Chen had been hiding his cultivation before? Thinking of this possibility, Zi Luo's heart was filled with panic, and she looked into the side room with trembling eyes. At only 18 years old, she had broken through to the 9th level of Xuandan, the same level of cultivation as her. You must know that her martial Dao talent has reached a high heavenly rank, and she has been vigorously cultivated by Xian Chamber of Commerce. Only after reaching the age of 23 can one break through to the 9th level of Xuandan. Xiao Chen was 5 years ahead of her. What kind of monster was this guy? Miss Morong, Miss Ziluo, are you sure that Mr. Xiao inside is really only 18 years old? When Ziluo was so frightened that her legs became weak. Nangong Jing, Li Wanqing and others on the side were also horrified and some of their faces turned pale, and they all asked in disbelief. He cultivated to the 9th level of Xuandan at the age of 18. Looking at the great Qian dynasty for thousands of years, which prodigy can be so evil? Young master, there is no need to lie. He is really only 18 years old. Ziluo was a little unsure when she heard this, but Morong Qingxue, who was beside her, replied with admiration on her face. The man who can pull her out of the abyss, his light is destined to be impossible to cover up. This is the charm of Mr. Xiao, Chapter 69. I don't agree with this anymore. Revolving Pill 9th level realm. In the wane, while everyone outside the room was horrified, Xiao Chen slowly opened his eyes at this time. Unexpectedly, with this improvement in soul quality, he not only transformed into a Bodhi enlightened soul, but also unexpectedly received an epiphany experience. Through unconscious cultivation, his cultivation level was actually promoted to the 9th level of Xuandan. But the biggest gain this time is not just the improvement in cultivation. When Xiao Chen observed the patterns of heaven and earth through the transformation of his soul, he also created his own divine ability based on the 5 elements' true essence. 5 elements killing technique. It is composed of 5 divine abilities. Once integrated union, it can create both yin and yang. When practiced to the extreme, it can shake the world. However, this divine ability is still in its infancy and needs to be continuously improved in the future. By the way, I wonder if the system can be completely upgraded? When the thought came to an end, Xiao Chen asked immediately. Ding! Unless the divine ability technique created by the host can be completely reproduced, the system cannot be directly upgraded through the host's soul memory. After hearing the system's answer, Xiao Chen had no choice but to give up. If you want to imprint divine ability on a scroll or jade slip, in addition to powerful soul power, you also need to practice this divine ability to perfection. He had just created this divine ability and could not reproduce it yet. It seems that we can only deduce it to a certain level by ourselves first, and then reproduce it and let the system help upgrade and improve it. It's time to go out. I wonder if I will miss the auction during this retreat. After suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Xiao Chen calmed down his breath. This epiphany felt like it only lasted a short moment, but how much time had actually passed? He is also difficult to judge. Well, is there someone outside the door? After standing up, he sensed several breaths outside the wing, and a look of confusion appeared on Xiao Chen's face. With so many people standing outside his door, could something happen to Xian Chamber of Commerce? When the thought came to an end, Xiao Chen frowned and came to the door, then opened the door. Several faces with shocked faces, but all of them were beautiful and had their own styles, came into Xiao Chen's eyes. Young Master, Master Xiao, Ziluo, Nangongjing and others, who were in shock, were startled when they saw the door being opened. Is he Mr. Xiao? He's quite handsome. Looking at Xiao Chen, who was as young as herself, Li Wanqing's face was full of curiosity, and she even felt eager to try. It seemed like he wanted to go up and pinch him. Look at this man who has cultivated to the 9th level of Xuandan at the age of 18. What kind of heavenly materials and earthly treasures are he made of? Martial Dao's talent is so abnormal. You have something wrong? Looking at the group of supreme grade beauties in front of him, Xiao Chen frowned slightly and asked with some doubts. Except for Ziluo and Morong Qingxue, he didn't know any of the other white-haired beauties. Are you Mr. Xiao? After Xiao Chen finished speaking, Nangong Jing took a deep breath to steady her mind, then walked over to Xiao Chen and bowed slightly. My name is Nangong Jing, and I am a disciple of the master of Wanhua sect. These two are my junior sister and junior uncle. The reason why we are standing here is all because of Miss Morong. After a brief introduction, Nangong Jing got straight to the point. He explained to Xiao Chen everything about wanting to bring Morong Qingxue into Wanhuaman. So, we would like to ask Mr. Xiao to persuade Miss Morong that joining the Wanhua sect will be absolutely harmless to her. If no one teaches her well, I'm afraid her talent will be buried. After saying that, everyone looked at Xiao Chen eagerly, while Morong Qingxue was a little embarrassed. This was her own decision, but she didn't expect it to disturb Mr. Xiao, but she caused trouble for him. So that's what happened. After hearing what Nangong Jing said, Xiao Chen suddenly smiled lightly. Whether Miss Morong wants to enter Wanwaman to practice or not depends on her own decision. Although I'm kind to her, I can't force her to make a decision. Morong Qingshui has a Taiyin Xuanxia body, which is a rare saint-rank physique and will be able to break through to the saint realm in the future. He was not stupid enough to push it to other forces. It would be troublesome if something unexpected happened. Mr. Xiao, Miss Morong insists on following you. She is undoubtedly burying her body of pure yin. If she can enter the 10,000 Flowers Gate, the 10,000 Flower Gate will not only protect her from thieves, but also fully discover her pure yin physique. Frowning, Nangong Jing still refused to give up and still wanted to persuade Xiao Chen. As long as the other party can open this golden mouth, Morong Qingshui will definitely respect Xiao Chen's opinion, and it will be easy for Wanwaman to take him under his wing. You said that Wanwaman can protect her from thieves. I agree with this. But if you say that your Wanhua sect can fully discover her physique, I don't agree with this. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this. After saying these words, the expressions of Nangong Jing, Li Wanqing and others immediately changed, and they all stared at Xiao Chen unkindly. Hey, how do you talk? Our Wanhua sect is one of the 5 apex-level forces of the Great Qian dynasty. The entire sect practices extremely yin attributes. There are several celestial human realm experts inside the gate, all of whom are top experts with pure yin physiques. How dare you say that our Wanhua sect doesn't have the ability to fully develop her physique? Hearing Xiao Chen's words, it seemed that he looked down on Wanwaman. Li Wanqing on the side immediately put her hands on her hips and said to Xiao Chen with an annoyed look on her face. It would be somewhat reasonable to say that the herds of animals in Burning Flame Valley would not discover the body of pure yin. But if you say that Wanhua Valley cannot discover pure yin physique, isn't this questioning a chef's inability to cook? The Wanwaman technique is incomplete. The more you practice to the late stage, the more obvious the disadvantages will be. Use the identification function to check the basic information of these people. Xiao Chen continued speaking calmly. For ordinary women, practicing this kind of technique will only cause the yin qi in their bodies to stagnate. As a result, I have a regular menstruation and my hair gradually turns white. And they will lose their fertility, gradually lose interest in men, and become what ordinary people call a stone girl. I heard Xiao Chen say these words. Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing's pupils couldn't help but widen. It was obviously the first time they heard such outrageous remarks. Han Xinyue on the side suddenly changed her expression after hearing this, and her energy was locked on Xiao Chen. Boy, you actually slandered the inheritance of Wanhua sect? As the words fell coldly, it seemed that if Xiao Chen dared to talk nonsense again, she would not be able to help but take action directly. Elder Han, young Master Xiao is the honorary elder of our Xian Chamber of Commerce. Your sudden behavior will scare him. Seeing that Han Xinyue was stimulated by Xiao Chen, Zi Luo couldn't help but speak at this time. What? After hearing Zi Luo's words, Han Xinyue's expression changed again, and she looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen, who is so young, is actually an honorary elder of the Xian Chamber of Commerce. His status is much higher than hers. You don't have to be so extreme. I'm just telling the truth. Seeing Han Xinyue's reaction, Xiao Chen was not angry, but continued in a calm voice. You have been practicing the inherited skills of Wanwaman for 46 years. From the beginning, you just had menstrual confusion to later, painful menopause. Now there is a lot of yin energy condensed in your lower abdomen. Not only will you feel pain in your lower abdomen late at night, but you will even have a backlash of yin energy once a month. That feeling is like someone having a 1,000-year-old ice pick stabbed into your perineum. It's enough to make you, a strong man in the universal truth realm, feel worse than death during the torture. Chapter 70. I'm just telling you. Boom. After Xiao Chen said these words, Han Xinyue felt like thunder exploding in his mind. His pupils also contracted violently, and he looked at Xiao Chen in horror. All right. Whether it was the number of years he had practiced the technique or the hidden root of his body, Xiao Chen was absolutely right. If it weren't for the first time she met Xiao Chen today, she would even suspect that Xiao Chen had been treating her like an adulterer for a long time. Just by looking at her, you can see so many problems. Who is this Mr. Xiao? Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing on the side were collectively confused at this moment. although they know the inherited skills of Wanhua sect. Because it was born out of an incomplete holy art and cannot truly perfect the core of the technique, there will be some drawbacks after practice. I didn't expect that so many problems would arise after practicing to the late stage. They may even lose their fertility and their interest in sexual intercourse between men and women, which their master has never mentioned to them. As for you two, you both have special pure yin physiques, and you haven't been practicing for a long time. So at present, you two only have white hair, and each menstrual period is chaotic and accompanied by severe pain from uterine cold. However, the more you practice to the late stage, and as your cultivation level continues to improve, the yin qi in your body becomes more condensed. Not only will you be like this elder, you will have to experience life worse than death once a month. Even because of the special pure yin constitution, yin qi will become yin evil after excessive condensation. Afterwards, the personality will become a little cold and extreme, and there is a risk of death if it goes too far. Seeing the horrified looks on their faces, Xiao Chen glanced at Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing, and continued to add in a calm voice. And Miss Morong's pure yin physique is more advanced than the two of you. Once you practice the inherited skills of your Wanhua sect, although your early stage cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds, there will definitely be backlash in the late stage. Even after she cultivated to the celestial human realm, she would become possessed or die suddenly if she was not careful. Hiss, after hearing what Xiao Chen said. Morong Qingxue, Zi Luo and others couldn't help but take a deep breath. They didn't expect that Wanhuaman's technique had such big drawbacks. I originally thought that after practicing the skills in Fenyan Valley, yin deficiency and yang excess would accumulate fire poison. Without a gentle woman, she would have to endure the torment of burning desire. This is already a big disadvantage. I didn't expect that Wanhuaman's inherited skills would have such big drawbacks besides turning my hair white after practice. It sounds like the two extremes from Fenyan Valley, which makes people feel unbelievable for a while. Xiao. Mr. Xiao, can you see these problems? Is there a way to treat us? As the storm surged in her heart, Han Xinyue was no longer as cold as before, but instead felt a kind of respect for Xiao Chen. After taking a deep breath to calm down, she asked with a trembling voice. The sequelae of the exercise have been tormenting her for decades, and every attack in the past few years has made her worse than death. If she hadn't cultivated to the 7th level of universal truth, she would already have extremely strong willpower. I'm afraid that my character will completely change under this kind of torture. If Xiao Chen could cure or relieve her pain, she would even give up all her wealth. Image of Han Xinyue. There is indeed a way. After hearing Han Xinyue ask this question, Xiao Chen's mouth curved slightly. He said as much. Naturally, Han Xinyue and others had to ask this question so that he could harvest Wanhuaman's resources in the future. He even brought the entire 10,000 Flowers sect under his crotch. Bah, he brought them all under his command. Is everything the young master said true? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Han Xinyue was immediately overjoyed. Even Nangong Jing, Zi Luo and others couldn't help but widen their eyes. But don't be too happy yet. Seeing several people looking at him with excitement and surprise, Xiao Chen didn't hide anything at this moment. I can only help you relieve this pain at the moment, that is, repair the hidden wounds left by the backlash of yin qi on your body, and restore your fertility. As for completely solving this hidden danger, we still have to start from the root cause. That is, your inherited skills. If you are willing to hand over the core skills to me for viewing, I can pass them back to my master and ask him to help deduce the shortcomings. In this way, as the technique is completely perfected and you can perfectly control every ray of yin energy in your body, you can completely eliminate this sequelae from the source. The repair function can only repair physical wounds, but cannot directly correct the true essence. Therefore, Xiao Chen could only take a roundabout way. He could help these people repair their bodies first, and then perfect the exercises to solve the hidden dangers. Of course there are benefits to this. After all, every person he repairs will have a contract secretly planted by the system. If he could help everyone in the Wanhua sect repair their bodies, wouldn't the entire Wanhua sect be under his control? It's exciting to think about it. Need to hand over the inherited skills? After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Han Xinyue, Nangong Jing and others, everyone was stunned on the spot. Kung Fu is the core inheritance of a sect. If it is handed over to outsiders, it may destroy the sect. I am just telling you, I am not asking you to do this. Seeing the changing expressions of Han Xinyue, Nangong Jing and others, Xiao Chen smiled lightly and waved his hand. The bait has been thrown. As long as you can keep your composure, there will always be fish taking the bait. Master Xiao, inheriting the skills is not something I can decide. I can only report it to the sect masters and the others to make the decision. But if the young master can alleviate this pain, Xinyue boldly wants to ask the young master to help. After a moment of silence, Han Xinyue gritted her teeth and said. After saying that, Han Xinyue took out a na-ring and then handed it to Xiao Chen. This is a bit of my net worth, please don't dislike it, Mr. Xiao. Xiao Chen can help Murong Qingxue solve her physical problems, and maybe she can really help her repair her physical wounds. If the physical pain could be relieved, she would suffer less torture in the future. Well, since you have said this, I will take action for you once. Xiao Chen didn't refuse when he saw this. After putting away the space ring, he said calmly to Han Xinyue. Come in with me. As the group of people walked into the private room, Xiao Chen asked Han Xinyue to lie down on the big bed without any unnecessary nonsense. Next moment, Xiao Chen's cultivation suddenly exploded, and he created a series of seals with one hand, and his whole body was surrounded by runes. Then, after making some pretense, he pressed directly on Han Xinyue's lower abdomen and at the same time issued a repair command to the system. Ding! The system has deducted 18,000 points and is repairing the hidden injuries of the character Han Xinyue. Although Han Xinyue's cultivation reached the 7th level of universal truth, because the sequelae were not fatal injuries, not many points were deducted this time. And as the system prompt sounded, dazzling white light also erupted from Xiao Chen's body. Han Xinyue felt a mysterious force rushing in from Xiao Chen's right hand and surging back and forth in her belly. That unprecedented warmth was accompanied by a strange feeling. Her body couldn't help but tremble, and she let out a cry of surprise. Everyone in the room, hearing this seemingly lustful cry, the atmosphere instantly became a little awkward. Chapter 71. Senior sister, you are so coquettish. Seeing everyone around her looking at her with strange expressions, Han Xinyue's face suddenly turned red. I didn't expect that she, who is already several decades old, would make such a sound after being pressed lightly by Xiao Chen. It's so embarrassing, that's it. Your body has returned to its original state, no different from when you were a girl, and you are also capable of having children. But the root cause has not been solved, and it can only last a few years. When Han Xinyue's face turned red, Xiao Chen also retracted his palm. He said in a calm voice, Xinyue thanks you for your great kindness. After hearing this, Han Xinyue rolled up from the bed and felt the warmth in her lower abdomen. It was as if the shackles of the body were broken, and there was a sense of relaxation that was previously called. There was a look of shock and gratitude on her face, and she clasped her fists at Xiao Chen respectfully. This time it was fixed. Xiao Chen not only healed the damage to her palace, but also some hidden wounds left during the fight. At this moment, they all disappeared, and the bottleneck of cultivation even began to loosen. It seemed that as long as she practiced quietly, she would be able to achieve breakthroughs later on. Uncle Master, is it really effective? Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing on the side, seeing Han Xinyue like this, came over and asked softly. They have been practicing Xuanyi Wangyu Ju for many years. Although it is not yet menopausal and the backlash would be worse than death, the palace is also being eroded. So both of them will have dysmenorrhea and menstrual disorders. In addition, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing were both a little scared when they heard Xiao Chen speak so seriously. If it really works, they also want to be repaired. Young Master Xiao is truly a master of wonderful medicine. After hearing the questions from Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing, Han Xinyue did not answer directly at this time, but said this sentence with reverence on her face. That respectful and hot look, and the cold look just now. They are simply two completely different people. Mr. Xiao, can we come and give it a try? After hearing Han Xinyue's answer, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing both took a deep breath. Then he turned around and looked at Xiao Chen, saying with a bit of embarrassment. Although it hurts for a few days every month, with the perseverance of practitioners, they can still endure it through gritted teeth. But they are not masochists. If Xiao Chen repairs it, they can avoid this kind of pain, which is what they want. After saying that, as if they were afraid that Xiao Chen would disagree, The two of them immediately took out their own money and handed the ring to Xiao Chen. This is a little girl's wish. I hope Mr. Xiao will not dislike it. Looking at the two beautiful faces with eager eyes and the two na rings floating in front of his eyes, Xiao Chen's mouth curved slightly. Since you two are so thoughtful, then I will do what you wish for. Xiao Chen didn't show any pretense at all. He directly put away the two rings and then spoke to the two of them. Go up and lie down by yourself. As expected of a disciple of Wanhua sect, there are many resources in Naji. Including Han Xin Yue's Nai ring just now, there should be 7 or 800,000 spiritual crystals alone. If other resources are added up, it should be worth 5 to 600,000. In other words, the combined net worth of these three women could earn him at least 100,000 points. Even if he suffered some losses for the three people, he would still make a huge profit after this wave. And when the thought falls, after Nangong Jing negotiated with Li Wanqing, she took the lead and lay down on the big bed, her face turning a little red with embarrassment. This was the first time that she lay on a big bed and perfectly showed her figure to a man. She even had to have her belly touched next, which made her feel more nervous than ever before, as if there were millions of ants crawling on her body. Xiao Chen didn't know what was going on in Nangong Jing's heart. After briefly checking a few rings, he walked straight to the edge of the bed. Looking at this proud and concave body, Xiao Chen took a deep breath and burst into cultivation. Countless runes kept flying, after some random operations. Xiao Chen pressed Nangong Jing's lower abdomen and at the same time issued repair instructions to the system. Ding! The system has deducted 3,800 points and is repairing the hidden disease for the character Nangong Jing. As the beep fell, white light flashed and exploded. A mysterious power poured into Nangong Jing's body, making the other person feel like he was soaking in a hot spring. All the old diseases in the body that were eroded by yin qi were easily repaired by the system at this moment. This made Nangong Jing couldn't help but let out a soft snort. The next moment, when she realized that she had made such an embarrassing sound, Nangong Jing's face turned red and she almost wanted to dig a hole and crawl in on the spot. Just now I was surprised why Han Xin Yue made such a sound, but I didn't expect that she would also make such a lustful sound when she was on my side. Mr. Xiao is indeed a miraculous doctor. He can feel so comfortable with just one touch. Sister, you are so naughty. Seeing Nangong Jing's blushing face, Li Wanqing suddenly had a naughty look on her face, walked to Nangong Jing's side and said. Nangong Jing was immediately excited and jumped out of bed. You damn girl, are you looking for a beating? Ahem. Seeing Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing, who were scuffling together and looking vaguely happy together, Han Xin Yue on the side couldn't help but cough twice. To be so dishonorable in front of Mr. Xiao, these two girls are really neither old nor young. You made me laugh. After educating the two of them, Han Xin Yue rolled her eyes at Li Wanqing, who immediately understood and lay down on the bed with a nervous expression. He stared straight at Xiao Chen, seemingly hesitant to speak. Don't worry, it won't hurt. Seeing Li Wanqing's nervous look, Xiao Chen comforted him with a faint smile, then broke out and followed suit. Ding! The system has deducted 2,900 points and is repairing the hidden disease for the character Li Wanqing. Next moment, in the dazzling white light, even if Li Wanqing held it back, she finally hummed a tune. The room fell into dead silence again, followed by Nangong Jing's laughter. Li Wanqing was so angry that she jumped up from the bed and started fighting with Nangong Jing. Xiao Chen didn't pay much attention to the fight between the two beauties. He just opened the properties panel to check it out. Host. Xiao Chen Physique. Innate Dao Body Cultivation, 9 levels of Xuandan. Kung Fu. The technique of creating the universe divine ability. Heavenly Demon Shadowless Step. Great Wilderness True Dragon Fist. 5 Elements Heaven Shaking Seal. 9-turn Golden Body Cover. 5 Elements Killing Technique. Points. 515,364. There are still more than 510,000 points left. Looking at the remaining points balance, Xiao Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. More than 600,000 points. After excluding the points he used for training and the points he just consumed, he still has 510,000 left. This surprised Xiao Chen. System, recycle the resource items in these 3 rings. Feeling surprised, Xiao Chen immediately issued the order. Ding! The system has recovered all resource items, with a total value of 63,454 points. It's comfortable, and I earned more than 60,000 points when I changed hands. Seeing the points soared to more than 580,000, Xiao Chen couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. If you work a little harder, you can collect 800,000 points. It was enough for Kayan to break through to the Saint Realm level. By then, there will be a Queen of Saint Realm as a bodyguard behind her, and the 8 dynasties of the Eastern Wasteland will not be left to her own devices. Chapter 72. Young Master, leave me. A profound memory. Master Xiao, Xin Yue has something to ask of me. When Xiao Chen's thoughts were turning, Han Xin Yue's eyes flickered and she suddenly said. This made Xiao Chen raise his head in surprise. Xin Yu would like to ask Mr. Xiao to come back to Wanhua Gate with us in 2 days. As these words fell, the room suddenly became dead silent. Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing also stopped playing at this time and looked over with serious eyes, as if they had guessed what was going on. The reason why they came to Tiandu City was mainly for Xuanqing's Snow Lotus Pill. Because Duanmu Shuiying, the great elder of Wanhua sect, was injured by a rank 8 purple-scaled demonic flame dragon when she entered Shiwan Mountain some time ago. Not only was the injury quite serious, he was even poisoned by demonic flames. Even the third elder of the Wanhua sect, who was accomplished in the medical field, could not completely cure Duanmu Shuiying's injuries, and could only help Duanmu Shuiying suppress the injuries and the poison. That's why when they heard that Tiandu City was going to auction the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, Wanhua sect sent the 3 of them to fight for this pill. But now that Xiao Chen has shown such miraculous medical skills, if he can invite the other party back to Wanhuamen, he will not be able to win the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill successfully. Maybe there is a way to cure Duanmu Shuiying. It can even help many fellow disciples of Wanhua sect to cure the hidden diseases accumulated in the body over the years. Please also ask Mr. Xiao to come back to Wanhuamen with us. When the thought falls, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing also knew the importance of the matter, and they both bowed to Xiao Chen at this moment. Let's wait and see after the auction. Xiao Chen waved his hand when he heard this and responded with a slight smile. If there's nothing important to do in a few days, it wouldn't hurt to go back with you. If you want to go to Wanhuamen, you have to wait for Kayan to clear the customs, otherwise the trip is not guaranteed. Who knows how cold and extreme the character of the celestial human realm master from Wanhuamen will become after practicing the incomplete Xuanian Wang Yu Ju. What if he suddenly imprisons him before he can heal him, or does something bad? He can't resist with this level of cultivation. Therefore, you must wait until Kayan leaves the customs before you can go to Wanhuamen to harvest resources. Thank you for the favor, young master. Han Xin Yue, Nangong Jing and others did not know Xiao Chen's concerns at this time. When they heard that Xiao Chen agreed to this matter, they were immediately overjoyed. Even they didn't notice it after being repaired by Xiao Chen. They already have a great fondness for Xiao Chen, so much so that they don't object to some physical contact. Sir, what happened with Miss Murong? After hesitating for a moment, Han Xin Yue asked. Murong Qingxue was a good prospect, but she still didn't want to give up on him like this. Of course, now she is completely based on Xiao Chen's wishes. If the other party still objects, then she can only reluctantly give up. After I follow you back to Wanhuamen, if I can help you solve your skill problems. If Miss Murong is willing, she can practice in Wanhua Gate. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, if he could help Wanhuamen solve the skill problem, then the entire Wanhuamen would be under his control, and he could let Murong Qingxue practice in Wanhuamen. After all, at that time, it was your own people who taught your own people, which actually allowed the other party to grow up quickly. Thank you, sir. After hearing Xiao Chen's answer, Han Xin Yue was immediately overjoyed. Murong Qingxue's eyes flickered on the side, but he had no intention of refuting Xiao Chen. Her life, Xiao Chen is completely able to make the decision on his own without her consent. This is her devotion to Xiao Chen until death. Next. After some polite words, Xiao Chen also learned that the auction will be officially held tomorrow. Han Xin Yue, Nangong Jing and others. He didn't stay in Xiao Chen's room any longer, and left after a brief conversation. Murong Qingxue was the only one who remained speechless. After watching the others leave, she locked the door. Xiao Chen was slightly startled. Miss Murong, are you minding? Did Xiao just agree to let you enter the Wanhua sect without your consent? Seeing Murong Qingxue's abnormal appearance, Xiao Chen coughed dryly and felt a little embarrassed. Although Murong Qingshui is now completely obedient to him. But deciding other people's lives in this way seems to be a bit overstepping. Murong Qingshui shook her head when she heard this, turned her back to Xiao Chen and spoke softly. Everything Qingshui has now is all given to me by Mr. Xiao. Without Mr. Xiao, there would be no Qingshui. So Mr. Xiao can make decisions about Qingshui's future life. The words were not very strong, but there was a touch of determination, as if he was swearing to heaven. This made Xiao Chen feel a little embarrassed. Although she knew that Murong Qingshui had a good impression of him, she didn't expect that she would be so good to him that he could decide his life arbitrarily. Isn't this too much? It's just that Qingshui has a request, and I hope the young master can agree to it. When Xiao Chen's thoughts were turning, Murong Qingshui turned around and raised his hand to grab his collar. I would like to ask you, sir, for Qingshui. Let Qingshui and young master blend in with each other, and let Qingshui belong to you completely. Hiss. As these two sentences fell, Murong Qingshui's face turned red with embarrassment, but she tore off her clothes without any hesitation. With the sound of clothes being torn to pieces, a flawless body appeared in front of Xiao Chen's eyes. This scene, suddenly, Xiao Chen's pupils couldn't help but shrink, and there was a roar in his mind. Fuck, is this so fucking sudden? If he had been careful, he and Murong Qingshui had only known each other for less than 3 days. In just 2 or 3 days, he went from stranger to self-sacrifice without even a little buffer. Miss Murong. When the thought came to an end, Xiao Chen took a deep breath and was about to say something. But before he could finish his words, a white shadow swooped over. Master, please don't pity me, leave me, a deep memory. When these words reached his ears, Xiao Chen was thrown to the ground. Damn it, reverse push again? Is it true that he is destined to be a mistress and destined to be pushed back by countless beauties? But Kayan is still in seclusion. What if she comes out of seclusion and comes here? Damn, why are you thinking so much? So what if Kayan comes out of seclusion? At worst, the rain and dew will all come together to serve her. 2 hours later, Xiao Chen put on his clothes and looked at the messy room and the unconscious Murong Qingshui. He couldn't help but shook his head. Even with the cultivation of the second level of spiritual aperture, he eventually fainted from being too tired. Is this impressive enough? Young master is truly unparalleled in his charm. No matter where he goes, there are beauties who fall in love with him. Just when Xiao Chen felt a little emotional in his heart, he just opened the window and wanted to take a look at the scenery. A royal sister's voice filled with sourness echoed in the side room. Xiao Chen was immediately shocked. When I turned around, I found that a strange figure had appeared in this wane. Chapter 73. It is the pride of her life to have such a monster man. Colorful smoke. Seeing this cold and unparalleled figure, Xiao Chen couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. It was a coincidence that I was caught again. Admire the appearance of Queen Medusa. You came out of seclusion so soon. Feeling a little embarrassed and guilty, Xiao Chen coughed dryly and said calmly. I thought it would take Kayan 2 days to get out of seclusion, but I didn't expect the other party to refine the elixir so quickly. This was a surprise for him. Well, I left the seclusion more than an hour ago. I originally wanted to rush over to surprise the young master, but I didn't expect to find him working hard. Kayan nodded when she heard the words, her voice a little faint. I originally wanted to give Xiao Chen a surprise, but unexpectedly, she got a surprise instead. The cool breeze blew directly outside the window for an hour and a half. Then your cultivation level should have returned to the 9th level of heaven and man, right? Hearing Kayan's seemingly resentful words, Xiao Chen laughed and quickly changed the topic. Kayan now made him feel like the supreme god. The aura escaping from his body made him feel as heavy as 1,000 times, and it was countless times more terrifying than before. Thanks to young master, Kayan has now fully recovered her cultivation, and is 3 points stronger than when she was at her peak. Kayan did not continue to be jealous after hearing this. After all, her husband still had to give face. If she spoke too forcefully, she might hurt Xiao Chen's self-esteem. Haha, that's good. In that case, after the auction ends in 2 days, you can come with me to the Wanhua Gate. Xiao Chen was overjoyed when he heard this and immediately explained the situation to Kayan. Queen Medusa is 3 points stronger than she was at her peak. With such a strong person escorting her, she will be absolutely safe. By then, if he can capture the entire Wanhua sect, his backstage will be greatly expanded. Heading to Wanhuaman, after hearing Xiao Chen's words, Kayan frowned slightly. Although she has now transformed into a human form, she still has snake-scale inner armor to protect her aura. However, several celestial human realm experts from Wanhua sect have all fought against her before, and they will most likely be recognized once they show up. No need to worry. The Wanhua sect is asking for something from me this time, and there is the Xian Chamber of Commerce behind me. If there is no accident, they will not dare to mess around. Seemingly seeing what Kayan was worried about, Xiao Chen waved his hand and said with a slight smile. As long as I can harvest some resources from the 10,000 Flowers Gate, I should be able to transform your bloodline. For such a large sect, it should be easy to harvest hundreds of thousands of points. What's more, Wanhuaman is one of the 5 major apex-level forces in the Great Qian dynasty. Even if he is not as rich as the Xian Chamber of Commerce, his net worth should not be that poor. What? After hearing Xiao Chen's last words, Kayan couldn't help but tremble. Breaking through Saint Realm, she only mentioned it once in the Xiao family, but she didn't expect that Xiao Chen always took it to heart and worked silently for her. Whether it's repairing her injuries, restoring her cultivation, or even helping her transform her bloodline, Xiao Chen has been giving silently. And just now, she was a little ignorant and wanted to be jealous because of another woman? Damn it, I'm sorry for Xiao Chen's painstaking efforts towards her. It turns out that the young master has always had me in his heart. It's ridiculous that I don't know how to be satisfied. In a burst of emotion and self-deprecation, Kayan's jealousy disappeared, and instead she felt a strong sense of guilt. Are you okay? When Xiao Chen saw Kayan, he trembled first, then couldn't help clenching his fists tightly, and then showed a hint of self-mockery and shame. It looked a bit like he was about to hit someone, which made him feel a little confused. Fine, Kayan shook her head when she heard this. He gave Xiao Chen a charming smile and looked at Xiao Chen with twinkling eyes. Young master is indeed an unparalleled talent. He has only been here for a few days. The cultivation level has already broken through to the 9th level of Xuandan. Feeling the changes in Xiao Chen's current cultivation level, Kayan's face showed shock and pride. With Xiao Chen's terrifying breakthrough speed, I'm afraid it won't take too long for her cultivation to slowly catch up with her, or even surpass her. It is the pride of her life to have such an evil man. Haha, just good luck. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this, but he was a little embarrassed. The reason why his cultivation has improved so quickly is partly because the system has opened a cheat for him, and partly also thanks to Kayan, the Queen of Medusa. The opponent is a celestial human realm powerhouse who has cultivated primordial yin for 300 years. Directly let him break through several small realms. Without Kayan's dedicated help, his cultivation would not have been able to break through so quickly. But young master's cultivation level should be able to make further breakthroughs. After taking a closer look at Xiao Chen, a strange look appeared on Kayan's face. Young master just broke this sister's body, and now she has accumulated a large amount of primordial yin essence in her body. If it can be completely refined, it will be enough to break through to the grotto heaven realm. Marang Qingshui has a saint-rank pure yin physique. Although her current cultivation level is still relatively weak, her condensed yin origin cannot be underestimated. Well, I'm planning to go into seclusion and refine myself. Xiao Chen nodded when he heard this and took the lead. If you can refine this energy, you should be able to perfectly open up grotto heaven. I just don't know how long it will take to refine it. If I accidentally miss the auction, I will be in trouble. Young master, don't worry, I'll help you refine. It only takes a few hours to completely refine it. As if she could see Xiao Chen's confusion, Kayan licked her lips at this moment. Following these two words, a sense of charm echoed in the room. Kayan traced her fingers across her chest, then twisted her waist and slowly approached Xiao Chen. What do you want to do? I saw that Kayan was no longer as cold as before, but instead showed a charming attitude. Xiao Chen was immediately shocked. What do you want to do? Kayan showed a charming smile when she heard the words, and rushed towards Xiao Chen when the words fell. Of course. Help the young master break through the grotto heaven realm and do what you want to do. Damn it, my life is at risk. Seeing that Kayan was serious, Xiao Chen's expression changed drastically and he almost wanted to run away. He was tortured by Kayan 7 times in the past 2 nights. I finally calmed down a bit today, but I was harmed by Murong Qingshui again. He hasn't even had a moment's rest yet, and this woman wants to squeeze him again. Does this still allow him to live? The next morning? When the first ray of sunshine in the morning breaks through the darkness and spreads its breath of life to the earth. The entire Tiandu city also became boiling. Many powerful people from various major forces also entered the Xian Chamber of Commerce. Today's auction is a fate, if you can harvest some treasures from it. It is enough to greatly improve personal strength or the foundation of power. And in Xiao Chen's wing, after a night of selfless dedication by Kaian, Xiao Chen's cultivation also broke through to the Grotto Heaven realm at this time. Along with the roaring explosion, countless spiritual crystals filled the entire wing. A starting point emerged behind Xiao Chen. Immediately afterwards, it was like a big explosion in the universe, and a terrifying suction force erupted in the 5 elements of light. Countless spiritual crystals around him continued to turn into powder, and the vast spiritual energy continued to merge into Grotto Heaven. The Grotto Heaven behind Xiao Chen began to expand from its small starting point. Finally, after swallowing nearly 300,000 spiritual crystals, the Grotto Heaven stopped its expansion trend. An extremely terrifying aura swept across the entire room. Chapter 74. My husband, Xiao Chen, has the supreme posture of the great emperor. 9-foot Grotto Heaven, marshaled out to the extreme? Seeing the mouthful of Grotto Heaven emerging behind Xiao Chen, Kaian couldn't help but have a look of shock on her face. When the cultivation level breaks through to Grotto Heaven, everyone's talent will be determined based on their talent. The Grotto Heavens that have been carved out also vary in size. 1 foot is the lowest, and 9 feet is the extreme. Even though she has the blood of the sky-swallowing python, martial Dao's talent reaches heavenly rank supreme grade. When breaking through the Grotto Heaven realm, the size of the Grotto Heaven that was opened was only 7 feet. 7 feet later. Not to mention every extra foot, even an extra inch, makes a huge difference. Kaian thinks that Xiao Chen's breakthrough into the Grotto Heaven realm this time and the ability to open up an 8-foot-sized Grotto Heaven is already shocking enough. But I never expected it. The Grotto Heaven developed by Xiao Chen this time actually reached the martial Dao limit of 9 feet. My husband, Xiao Chen, has the supreme posture of the great emperor. Looking at Xiao Chen, who was coming to the end of his breakthrough, Kaian's face was flushed with excitement, and the huge thing on her chest was even more ups and downs. If it weren't for the lack of time now, the woman next to him would have woken up long ago. Kaian even wanted to continue to have a relationship with Xiao Chen. After all, being able to conquer this incomparable evil man is obviously a great achievement for her as a queen. Young master. Actually broke through the Grotto Heaven realm? Murong Qingshui, who was lying on the bed pretending to be unconscious, opened his eyes through a small slit and saw Xiao Chen's current condition. The whole person was so shocked that he couldn't get up. In fact, Xiao Chen woke up from her coma long after her battle with Kaian. But I didn't expect it when I opened my eyes. I saw that aloof elder sister in red, riding directly on Xiao Chen like a queen. That kind of powerful aura and exciting scenes. Let her mind go blank. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen would be squeezed even more fiercely after being taken away from her. At this special moment, she didn't dare to disturb these two people, so she could only pretend to be unconscious. But she never expected that this costume would last for 2.5 hours, almost from late at night to dawn. Only the elder sister in red was willing to let Mr. Xiao go, and then Mr. Xiao's cultivation level broke through to the Grotto Heaven realm. Just a few days. Soaring from the 7th level of the spiritual aperture to the Grotto Heaven realm, this is an unprecedented breakthrough speed. It could shock her for 10,000 years. But these are not what she cares about most at the moment. After all, the young master is unparalleled in the world, so it is normal for him to be such a monster. The most important question now is, how will she face Xiao Chen and this cold elder sister later? While thinking crazily in my mind about how to deal with it next, Murong Qingshui could only lie on the bed and continue to pretend to be unconscious, not even daring to move when her body felt cold. When you wake up, just get up. After calming down her inner excitement, Kaian glanced at Murong Qingshui and spoke in a calm voice. Anyway, these are her future sisters, and she must learn to get along with each other. After hearing Kaian's words, Murong Qingshui exclaimed and quickly got up from the bed. Then he pulled up the sheets to cover himself, with a look of shame and embarrassment on his face. Sister. What do you call me? After bowing her head and struggling for a long time, Murong Qingshui mustered up the courage, gritted her teeth and asked Kayan. Kayan's aura was too strong, which made her feel flustered. After all, the opponent is a transcendent level expert, and he can easily kill her with just a few moves. My name is Kayan. Seeing Murong Qingshui's guilty and uneasy look, Kayan tried to speak as gently as possible at this moment. You don't have to be so timid. Since you have committed yourself to the young master, I will not do anything to you. But there's one thing you have to remember. You're the son of a prince one day, and you will be the son of a prince all your life. Even if your cultivation level is low and you can't help the young master, I will take care of it for you if you need anything. But if you betray the young master one day, I will get rid of you without hesitation. There was even a touch of chill in his voice at the end, causing the temperature in the room to drop suddenly at this moment. It also made Murong Qingshui raise her head sharply. I will not betray the young master. After saying this loudly, Murong Qingshui said in a very firm voice when she saw Kayan raising her head and looking over. Qingshui can swear to God, in this life, I will be the young master's person when I am born, and I will be the young master's soul when I die. If I dare to betray you one day, I am willing to be struck by 5 thunders and annihilated. The words were firm and unwavering, without the slightest hint of fear. Kayan looked slightly startled. She is indeed a bitch. Although Murong Qingshui knew Xiao Chen, it only lasted 3 days. But the other party's unswerving love for Xiao Chen is probably not much weaker than that of her, the queen. This is really a bad fate. Young master is about to wake up, please put on your clothes first. After recognizing Murong Qingshui's feelings in her heart, Kayan's voice became more gentle. A genius whose talents and qualifications are even more evil than hers. If it can be cultivated in the future, it may be able to help a lot. Murong Qingshui suddenly looked embarrassed when she heard this. She quickly took out a set of clothes from her ring and put on her new makeup in a few moments. Here is another image of Murong Qingshui. Is this the grotto heaven realm? Almost after Murong Qingshui put on her clothes, Xiao Chen also completely ended this breakthrough. I felt that the grotto heaven behind me was like a small world of 5 elements, containing countless times more terrifying essence than before. A look of shock appeared on Xiao Chen's face. Although he had a premonition that this breakthrough would cause him to undergo an earth-shaking transformation, he did not expect that his transformation would become so exaggerated. With the vast amount of true energy contained in his current grotto heaven, coupled with his own cultivation techniques and divine ability. Even if he has little actual combat experience, he is still invincible in the grotto heaven realm. After breaking through the grotto heaven realm, I can also control the air. He felt that his body could float at will as his thoughts moved. Xiao Chen had an excited look on his face. Royal air. This is the dream of many people, and they often dreamed about it in their previous lives. Unexpectedly, less than 10 days after he transmigrated here, he not only realized his childhood dream of flying to the sky, but also had superhuman strength. This transmigrate experience is so cool, but we still have to get the function wing. This is a good material that can be used to create flying treasures and increase agility and defense. After slowly controlling his cultivation aura, Xiao Chen still did not forget the flying treasure. Although his cultivation level has broken through to the grotto heaven realm, he can fly freely without the help of external objects. But his current cultivation level is still a bit low, and his explosive speed is still not much faster. If he is assisted by heavenly rank flying treasures, even if he only has the cultivation level of the grotto heaven realm, he can completely defeat other strong men in the grotto heaven realm. After suppressing his thoughts, Xiao Chen realized that 2 women were looking at him. Kayan looked like a royal sister and licked her lips towards him, as if she still had something to say. Murong Qingshui on the side was pure and well-behaved, with an expression on her face that I respected Kayan as my eldest sister. Xiao Chen suddenly felt embarrassed, but in his perception, Murong Qingshui's cultivation level has actually broken through to the 6th level of spiritual aperture, so the other party must have benefited from it last night. This surprised Xiao Chen. You have talked? When the atmosphere became a little weird, Xiao Chen broke the deadlock with a dry cough. Well, she is a good girl. I will teach her if I have the opportunity in the future. Kayan nodded when she heard this and said something casually to lighten the atmosphere. The auction of the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce is about to begin, and we should enter the venue if we calculate the time. After hearing Kaiyan's words, Xiao Chen suddenly smiled lightly. After changing the topic, he stood up and walked towards the door. Judging from the situation, there should be no conflict between the two of them, which made him feel very relieved. He will definitely have many beauties in the future. If the other party was so sensible, it would save him a lot of trouble. Kaiyan and Murong Qingshui didn't say anything after hearing this. They all followed Xiao Chen obediently towards the Xi'an auction venue. Chapter 75. What goddamn man dares to do such harm? Inside the auction venue. At this time, the seats at the bottom were already filled with many powerful men. Most of these are other cities in Guangzhou or some strong men from first and second-rate forces. Most of the cultivation levels are in the Xuandan realm or the Nirvana realm. On some high platforms around the auction, only some distinguished guests from the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce were eligible to sit on them for the auction. Xiao Chen and his party, led by the maid, went straight to the VIP platform number 3. Only discovered at this time. The entire auction venue was already overcrowded, and even the 8 high platforms were filled with distinguished guests. On the first platform is a young man in white, surrounded by 2 maids and an old man. It seems to be somewhat extraordinary. On the second high platform was Yang Xiao, the prince of Zhenan whom he had met, as well as his protector and the loser Nalan Shiji. The high platform at number 4 next to it is Nangang Jing and his party, and the high platform at number 5 is Duan Haoming and his protectors. On the number 6 platform were 2 old men wearing masks, one black and one white, exuding a permeating aura. On the number 7 platform is a man with a big belly, who looks like a wealthy businessman with all his jewels. On the number 8 platform is a woman with her face covered, followed by a white-haired old woman. The two of them also look quite mysterious. Sir, those 2 masked old men are both celestial human realm powerhouses. When I first entered the number 3 platform, Kaiyan glanced at the number 6 platform and told Xiao Chen in a surprised voice. Although the auras of these 2 people were well controlled, she had fully recovered her cultivation at this time and could still see through them easily. Oh, after hearing Kaiyan's words, Xiao Chen suddenly became curious. He glanced at high platform number 6, and then turned on the identification function. A pair of twin brothers who do all kinds of evil, broke through the celestial human realm after practicing for 320 years. I once sacrificed a blood sacrifice to a city to recover from my injuries. Now I am being fully wanted by the Daqin royal family. I am called the Black and White Twin Ghost by many powerful people in the dynasty. At present, the cultivation level of the 2 of them has reached the first level of heaven and human beings. If they attack together, they can compete with the 3rd level of heaven and human beings. Black and white ghosts? After checking out the information of these 2 old men, a strange color flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. He didn't expect to meet a wanted criminal, which surprised him. As long as they don't provoke us, ignore these 2 old guys. After knowing the strength and identity of these 2 people, Xiao Chen immediately looked away and responded calmly. With Kaiyan's current strength, she is not afraid of these 2 people at all. Of course, Xiao Chen is not a righteous person. He wants to arrest wanted criminals whenever he sees them. As long as the other party doesn't mess with him, there's no need for him to meddle in other people's business. By the way, no matter what conflict occurs next, don't expose your true cultivation level first. It seemed like he was remembering something. Xiao Chen glanced at several high platforms and suddenly gave Kaiyan a warning. Although Kaiyan has now returned to the 9th level of heaven and human beings, and is not afraid of most powerful people, it will still be very troublesome for her identity to be exposed. Therefore, Xiao Chen still wants to keep a low profile unless absolutely necessary. Brother, there seem to be a few body of pure yin over there. When Xiao Chen told Kaiyan, the old man in white among the black and white ghosts looked at Nangang Jing and others with a serious look. He said in a hoarse voice. The 2 of them practice magic skills and always like to collect yin and replenish yang. Unexpectedly, I would encounter several body of pure yin in this auction. This is an unexpected surprise. There is also a body of pure yin on the number 3 platform, but its aura is a bit turbid. It must have just lost its primordial yin. But that woman in red actually made me feel a sense of crisis. After hearing the words of the old man in white, the old man in black said solemnly. Don't act rashly first, wait until the auction is over, and then find an opportunity to test the depth of these women. They disguised their identities and came to the auction not to auction anything. And here you are looking for a target. Once the auction comes up, they want something. After being auctioned off at a high price, as long as they lock in the target and find the opportunity, they will be able to reap a bumper harvest. Although this behavior is more time-consuming, it is better than directly robbing the Xi'an Chamber of Commerce. The risk is much smaller and it is not easily exposed. Young master, the pure yin aura on that woman's body has become a little turbid. It seems that she has lost her virginity. On the fifth platform, Duan Haoming stared at Murong Qingshui after Xiao Chen and his party walked in. There was no concealment of the burning feeling on his face. But after hearing the old man in red say these words, his expression couldn't help but change. "What did you say?" Duan Haoming turned his head and looked at the old man in red, obviously unable to believe this fact. Body of pure yin. The body contains majestic pure yin energy, which will be fed back to the man when having sex with him. The more advanced the body of pure yin is, the stronger the feedback effect will be during dual cultivation. Therefore, many body of pure yin, even if they are kept in captivity as furnaces, will not be harvested too early. Unexpectedly, Murong Qingshui, a woman whose cultivation had only reached the spiritual orifice realm, would be deprived of her virginity so quickly? This is simply a waste of natural resources. Which goddamn man would dare to waste it like this? Feeling in disbelief inside, Duan Haoming looked at Xiao Chen with eyes that were about to spit fire, and he almost wanted to rush to the third platform to F*K him. Apart from the man sitting next to Murong Qingshui, he really couldn't think of anyone else who could break through him. A fine supreme-grade furnace was ruined like this. This guy really deserves to die. Feeling that someone was staring at him, Xiao Chen turned around in confusion. He immediately met Duan Haoming's fire-like eyes, which made Xiao Chen frown in confusion. Where did this guy come from? Why does he seem to have a deep hatred for him? Xiao Chen still doesn't know what happened yesterday. So he doesn't know Duan Haoming. Master, do you need to dig out his eyes? Kayan on the side also noticed Duan Haoming's eyes full of hatred. After giving Duan Haoming a cold look, she asked Xiao Chen in a somewhat solemn voice. Although she didn't know who this guy was, he dared to look resentful towards her man. These eyeballs should be dug out and crushed on the spot. Well, look at Queen Medusa's cold little eyes. Don't pay attention, it's just an ant. Xiao Chen shook his head when he heard this and responded with some disdain. The auction is about to begin, and it's not a good time to cause trouble. If this guy has a grudge for something, then wait until the auction is over and deal with it together. Hiss. What a scary look. Could this woman in red be the universal truth realm powerhouse that Yang Xiao said was following the man named Xiao? After being glanced at by Kayan, Duan Haoming's pupils suddenly shrank. Just a look. It made him feel a strong life and death crisis. This woman's strength was probably stronger than his protector. Young master, that woman. I can't beat her. When Duan Haoming was shocked, the expression of the old man in red also changed drastically. Just a look, he could feel that he was no match at all. What are you afraid of? Elder Black Flame has already arrived at Chaotan capital city. As long as I can successfully auction the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, our Burning Flame Valley will truly rise this time. After hearing the words of the old man in red, Duan Haoming immediately sneered. Yesterday, he had just received a text message from his father, claiming that he had captured the 1000-year Earth Core Fire. It's just that the energy of the 1000-year Earth Core Fire is too violent. Even with the help of the other two celestial human realm powerhouses, his father can only barely control it now, and there is no way to completely integrate Union the Millennium Earth Core Fire. But if you can get the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, use the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill to protect your heart. His father will be 80% sure that he can forcibly integrate the Union's Millennium Earth Core Fire. Once his father completely integrated Union, he might be able to use this opportunity to successfully step into the Saint Realm level. By then, with the support of a Saint Realm father, who else dares to provoke him within the Great Qian dynasty? When Duan Haoming's thoughts fell, suddenly a light came on the high platform of the auction, and a beautiful purple figure walked onto the high platform. The atmosphere in the entire auction venue became commotion at this moment.